Hi, hello, I missed all of you so much. Welcome back everybody to yet another dollar stream. It is a Sunday, it is currently 5 p.m. EST if you're watching this live. We have an extremely lively, extremely active chat. It is good to see all of you. Hello to Possum, hello to Gush Limpa, hello to Atinima, hello to Kaze, hello to Jack, hello to Dosky, hello to WW, hello to Kaze, hello to Mystic, hello to Trash Can Cat Mom. We have so many lovely people in chat today. It's really good to see all of you. I miss all of you so much. I'm pretty excited about today's stream. I'm feeling pretty good aside. I think I might be a little sick. I'm a little sniffly. So bear with me if I sound a little bit more nasally than usual. Also hello to Tech Duck and also hello to Stupid Blobfish. Welcome on in. Hi, I'm happy to have all of you. It is a beautiful Sunday. Things are finally a little bit warmer outside. I started the stream and there's still daylight outside in New York. So God bless. I was getting really sick of it being like winter, and so we have another month or so and then we'll come out of it. It's good to see all of you. So, everybody, let's talk about what we'll be doing today. And as always, for anybody that is just now joining us, I am here to help you learn how to cook. So if you have any questions at any point, I'm here to help you out. Also, hello to Jackie Peanuts. Thank you so much for the sub. We're going to be doing a couple of things. Also, hello to Evil. It's lovely to have you as always. We're going to be doing a couple of things today. Nothing that is too new for the stream, but today's stream is all about using up leftovers. Everybody, the things that I am teaching you here are home cooking. And the way that my home cooking philosophy works, and the thing that I want to teach to all of you, is you have to make use of what you have. You have to make the most out of what you have already available to you, and you have to stop things from going bad. So in my fridge, I had about a pound of flank steak left over that we used for quite a few things. Yesterday I used some of it for my lunch, but we used some of this for when we made the stir-fried beef with tomato. Okay, so I have about a pound of flank steak left over. And so I was like, okay, you know what? It was air drying really nicely in the fridge. I dry brined it with some salt, and we'll talk about the function of that later. This will make for some really, really lovely, beautiful flank steak tacos, my friends. Okay, so 1 pound of flank steak, that's about what I've got over here today. Okay, and we're going to use this up. I'm going to show you how to cook it really, really nice. We're going to be doing that in a nice carbon steel pan. We're going to be giving it a lot of love. We're going to cook it nice and medium where it's going to be super juicy. I'm going to go ahead and set that behind me. And the next thing, again, everything that I'm doing today, I did not really specifically go shopping for anything besides a couple of ingredients. All of this is stuff that I already had in my fridge, which is the way that I want all of you guys to also cook at home. Also, hello to Ashley. Welcome on in. So let's talk about some of the stuff that I wanted to get rid of. I have a bunch of dill and I have a bunch of parsley. And so I looked at the parsley and I looked at my quantity of parsley and I was like, you know what? We're going to be doing a chimichurri today. This parsley is at the end of its lifespan. I really should use it up today. We're going to make a beautiful chimichurri, aka an Argentinian sauce that is comprised of parsley and oregano and red wine vinegar and a little bit of oil and plenty of garlic. So it's going to be really nice, fresh, and acidic, and that is going to act in place of the salsa today. I'm going to be showing all of you how to make some homemade tortillas, some homemade corn tortillas. Everybody, I want all of you to get into the habit, unless you have a local tortilla factory available to you, I want all of you to get into the habit of making your own corn tortillas. So right here I have a bag of maseca. This is dried nixtamalized corn that's made into a little flour. And with this, we'll be making some lovely corn tortillas. Homemade corn tortillas, they're so delicious. They're so much more flavorful. If you ever buy bagged, pre-made corn tortillas, you can just see they're full of so many different preservatives, so many different things that don't have to be there at all. Homemade ones, they're so much fresher, they're so much more delicious, and they're less rubbery. Okay, so they're really, really delicious stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and set that behind me and I'm gonna show you how to do it. And everybody, you know, I hate working with doughs. I really do not like working with doughs, especially in a home setting. I'm not an enthusiast. Making homemade corn tortillas is so easy, it's so consistent, and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, basically today's stream is, hey, I have a bunch of dill, I have a bunch of parsley, I want to use these up, so we'll go ahead and make a little salad out of them. Also, tortilla chest, if stored properly, maybe 5-6 days. Okay, same as like you would any other kind of bread, I would say, but obviously you want to use them sooner rather than later. Okay, so we had these to use up, and then let's talk about some of my other vegetables for today. I'm just going to go ahead and set that behind me. I have here, my friends, some beautiful scallions. Okay, and so these scallions, some of these are going to go into the radish avocado salad that we'll be making. But some of them, we're basically going to cook them up whole. especially like on the pan that we'll be using, on my carbon steel pan. What I really, really like from taco places, even though it's not a scallion, but you have like these bulbous onions, okay? And you see them like grilled, they're like lightly charred, and you sometimes just see them served alongside tacos. And for me, that's one of my favorite things that I want to recreate. So these scallions, we're basically going to cook them in the same pan as the steak whole, and we'll put it into the taco. We'll put it into the tortilla, it'll be really yummy. And then some of the scallions will go into the salad, and then I also have some baby radishes that I wanted to get rid of. I have some baby radishes, and then I also have half an avocado that I need to use up as well. So everything about today is using up leftovers is to transform them into something else so that we have some nice delicious food at home. So that's what we're making today. We're going to make some homemade tortillas. I'm going to show you how to cook a perfect steak. I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful chimichurri. Okay? I'm going to show you how to make a salad. Is everybody ready? Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I want to make sure that you're excited too. Taking a little bit of water. Just getting into the swing of things. Again, I'm a little almost under the weather today, so bear with me. And also, everybody, before we begin, if you have not already done so, please check out my Patreon. You can type in ! Patreon. I want to teach you all how to cook. Any and all support will be appreciated because groceries are expensive. And I'm trying to get the Patreon to subsidize the cost of the groceries. So you can type in ! Patreon. You can scroll down. You can go into the About section, and that is enough shilling. So the first step, everybody, we're going to make some homemade tortillas. Or rather, we're going to make the dough for the tortillas. So let's go ahead and begin. So let's go to my overhead camera. I almost just dropped my bench scraper, but that's okay. So my cutting board is already all set up here. And the first thing that we're going to start with is a nice bowl. And you're going to want a bowl that is ever so slightly too big, because you don't want any of your ingredients in the process of making the tortillas to spill out. You don't want any of the dough, you don't want any of the flour to spill out. So, my number one piece of advice, start with a bowl that is slightly too big. Okay, next, everybody, I want to teach you something, I want to tell you something. Making homemade corn tortillas is so easy, especially because there is no exact ratio. It's all about intuition. I'm going to show you how to build up a feel, but there is no need to weigh things out by grams. I'm going to show you exactly how to test for the perfectly hydrated masa, okay, the perfectly hydrated dough for these tortillas. So we're not using measuring cups, we're not using any kinds of tools like that, we're just using a plain old cup, okay? And again, this is something that you need to have if you're going to make homemade tortillas. You either use something called fresh masa, which is dried kernels of corn that have been nixtamalized and then rehydrated with water, or typically in a home setting, especially in most American supermarkets, you can buy some maseca. Okay, and this is the base for like tamales, this is the base for tortillas, the base for so many different things. Everybody, please pick up some maseca. Does everybody understand? I want to hear yes, chef, please and thank you. Okay, so the ratio you're roughly shooting for is 1 cup to 1 cup. So 1 cup of the maseca to 1 cup of water, and that's it. That's all you need to make beautiful corn tortillas at home. Okay, so this isn't a cup, this isn't a measuring cup, this is just a little teacup that I have that I like to use this for. Okay, and all I'm going to do is just get one of these. One of them, and into the bowl it goes. Boop, just like that. Okay, and again, everybody, this is one of the easiest possible doughs to do at home. It takes 2 ingredients, okay? And there's no need to even worry about something like kneading. When you knead doughs, for those of you that might be uninformed, when you knead a dough, it's to develop something called gluten. It's to develop this protein mesh that gives a dough a lot of bounce and elasticity. This is a dough that does not have any gluten in it because corn does not have any gluten. Flour tortillas you would need to knead. This we're basically just going to combine it until it comes together. Okay, now in the past, I would use boiling water. And I found out that that actually ended up drying out my dough. So now all I use is hot water from my sink. And you want to start with a ratio of about like 1 cup of this to 1 cup of the hot water. But I would advise against using boiling water. Okay, does everybody understand? I found out boiling water has made it a little bit too spongy and it dried out the dough and cooked it a little bit too much. So hot water, warm water, but not boiling. So I'm just going to go right to my tap. I have New York City tap water, right? The best that there possibly is. And we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a cup. And again, we're roughly shooting for a 1-to-1 ratio. But this is the kind of a dough that you can just always adjust. Also, I'm going to let my tap run because it was a little cold. It takes a second for it to actually heat up. There we go. So again, you're shooting for roughly a 1-to-1 ratio. And if it's too wet, we're going to add in some more of the maseca. And if it's too dry, we're going to just add in some more water. Keep it really, really simple, guys. So we're going to start with using a wooden spoon. Okay, because it's too hot to handle with our hands. And then we're going to move on to using our hands. So we start with a spoon and then we move on to the hands. So let's take it and let's pour it in. We're going to save a little bit on the bottom because it's easier to integrate it if it's too dry. Also, welcome on in, Uber Bounty. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate you. So we added in the hot water, not boiling, hot water. And we're going to take a wooden spoon and we're just going to mix it in. We're going to make sure that we work out any of the dry clumps that have presented themselves. Just get it incorporated ever so slightly. Scrape up the bottom and just start basically chopping it up. That's all you're really looking to do at the moment. Guys, this is one of the easiest possible doughs that you can make at home. Everybody should get into the habit of making homemade tortillas because they're so delicious. They have so much more texture. They have so much more flavor. They're not rubbery. They're not cold. They're not dry. I hate store-bought tortillas with a passion. Okay? We can probably do the rest of this cup of water. And again, if it's too dry, we'll always be able to add in more. If it's too wet, we'll always be able to add in some more of the flour too. So just chop it up ever so slightly. And again, it hasn't come together yet. It will in just a moment. We're basically just cooling down the water at this stage. That's all we're really doing here. Okay? And then, that's it. We're going to now take a glove because I want to protect my poor little dainty eczema-ridden hands. Okay? And again, you want to make sure that your bowl is slightly too big for something like this. If your bowl is slightly too big, nothing is going to end up spilling out, okay? So we're cleaning up our spoon. We're making sure we're not wasting anything, okay? So get all of that dough off of your wooden spoon. It's also going to make cleanup a little bit easier later on. And we're going to take our hands, and now we're just going to squish and compact everything together. The entire idea now is just to get all of this maseca, to get all of this hydrated. We're not looking to, you don't have to work this. You don't have to really develop this. You just want to make sure that there's no dry clumps and that the moisture is all evenly distributed. Okay? Does everybody follow? Does everybody understand? So just take it, scoop it up from the bottom, and mix it back through. Take it and just work it until it all comes together. And it comes together quite quickly. So pound it out. And no, I'm not making flour tortillas. These are corn tortillas. Flour tortillas are a little bit more complicated because you would need like a nice animal fat for it and you would need to knead it and roll it out. I think flour tortillas are a little bit more technically difficult than corn ones, and I love the flavor of fresh homemade corn tortillas. I just do not like working with flour doughs at home. I find that it's a little bit impractical, it's a little bit messy, but the beauty of corn tortillas, it is just 2 ingredients. It is just the maseca, it is just the water. This is why I think everybody, regardless of their cooking ability, should get into the habit of doing this yourself at home. And flour tortillas are like, I think they're a little bit less practical. So you have to have quite a bit of experience. And they are a little bit more laborious. Does that make sense, Crazy Cookie? Okay, take it and mix it through. Okay, and then you can see the dough just comes together really, really beautifully. I can already tell you right now, this is going to need some more moisture. This is all a little bit too dry. Also, Jack, that's very exciting. I'm very happy for you. I'm glad to hear it. I'm excited to hear about how that goes. Okay, so I'm going to adjust my hair. And guys, you can already see this dough is really, really coming together. Okay? Nice and simple. Nice and easy. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's too dry. So here's how we test if it's too dry or too wet. You're going to take some. You're going to ball it up in your hands. And you're looking for it to not crack when you press it down. But you're not looking for it to stick so much that it leaves a residue. So I want you to see, it didn't leave a residue, but it's cracking on the edges. The edges of this aren't as smooth as they could be, okay? So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press this down and we're going to get some more hot water and just go in splash by splash. That is how easy this kind of a dough is. You don't have to have exact ratios. You don't have to have exact measurements for something like this, okay? So, little splash of water going in. Yes, absolutely, Woodward. You can also choose your own thickness. And all I'm going to do is now I'm just going to take it and I'm going to just mix it in. I'm going to work it and it's going to stick to the bowl. But then you just got to incorporate it and then it's going to be okay. Take it and mix it in. But again, so we are also intentionally not salting these. It's not, I don't see like a lot of like Mexican families like salting tortillas or like the tortilla dough. And the reason for that is because you want this to be a very bland component. It's going to have all the flavor of the corn and stuff, but the idea is you want your salsas, you want like whatever you're filling this with at the end to be the seasoning for it, right? So it's very intentionally bland. Not everything in a kitchen has to be seasoned all the time. Okay, not everything in the kitchen has to be seasoned. It's the same idea with white rice, right? Like if you're thinking about like Chinese cooking and you're thinking about white rice, the salt, there is no salt present in the rice itself because the whole idea is for everything else to then season the staple, to then season the base of it all. Although you can add salt to this if you'd really, really like to. I just don't think it's particularly necessary. It's nice to have this be like a bland base and then everything else on top of it is going to flavor it. Okay, because the tortillas are not really meant to be eaten by themselves. Although, in Mexico, especially in Mexico City, people do occasionally eat what is just called a salt taco, right? Where it's just a corn tortilla with a little bit of salt on it and nothing else. But yeah, it's not just a European thing, Chess. This is a contemporary cooking thing. This is a contemporary fine dining thing where they say, oh, everything has to be salted. I will say that European cooking, especially like French cooking, not everything is heavily salted at all. This is more of a modern fine dining idea that everything has to be salted. And that's not true. It's all about balance, right? So if you have a bland component, you're then going to have a seasoned, you're then going to have a salted component to go along with it. And it's all going to work out at the end. Okay. So guess what? We've incorporated that water. We've incorporated that splash of water. I can tell it's already slightly sticking to the bowl. All we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit. Once again, we're going to roll it up, okay? And we're going to see exactly how it's doing. So take it, and you're going to ball it up in your hands, and then you're going to press it down nice and flat, okay? And you're not looking for the edges to crack, but you're also not looking for it to stick to your hands. It's going to leave the slightest residue. And for me, that's perfect. That's exactly what that should look like. So take it. But yeah, Dennis, we're not kneading it as much as we are just incorporating it to make sure that there's no dried lumps. So all we're really doing is hydrating it instead. Okay, the next mistake that you can make is to immediately cook this. You want to let this sit for 30 minutes or more, covered by plastic wrap, so that the flour then fully hydrates. So it's going to get a little bit moister, it's going to get a little bit wetter as it sits, okay? So we're just balling it up. There we go, we have this beautiful ball of masa. Fully hydrated, has as much water as it can possibly take at the moment. I'm going to take some plastic wrap now. And we're going to cover it with the plastic wrap. Also, hello to Robert. Welcome on in. Hello, hello. We take a little bit of plastic wrap. And we take it, and we're going to cover it. This is just to stop the dough from drying out. You can do this with a towel. Plastic wrap also works great. Also, Sterling, thank you so much for the Prime sub. How many tortillas do I think that's going to make? This is going to make about 12. Depending on the size, 12 to 15. So, everybody, we've done it. That is all that you need to make dough for corn tortillas. It is just 2 ingredients. It is just maseca. It is just some water. We brought it together. So yeah, somewhere between 12 and 15 tortillas for this portion. Because I didn't really measure it out. I just used my small little cup. Okay. So that's been done. And now we're just going to let that sit until we're ready to actually press it out. We have a beautiful tortilla press. I'm going to show you this thing. Okay. Everybody get a load of this guy. This is my beautiful tortilla press. Okay? And with this, we're going to flatten them out eventually. And this is something I do want to talk about really quickly. Theoretically, you can make tortillas without a tortilla press. You can use like 2 sheet trays or 2 heavy pans, but having a really big heavy tortilla press I think is key. If you guys remember when we started doing the streams, I had this like really cheap aluminum tortilla press and it was really small and it did not have the weight. Okay, where did I get my press? I got this from Hacienda. This is my Hacienda tortilla press and I really love this thing. Yeah, Dennis, the round cast iron ones are also super good. When you're buying a tortilla press, I highly recommend you buy something that is big and heavy. And yeah, you don't want to use a rolling pin because the idea isn't to roll it out. You can just flatten it. It has no gluten, so it's not going to spring back at you. Everybody, please invest in a big, heavy tortilla press. Yes, Robin, I got this at Hacienda. This is the Doña Rosa tortilla press. Okay? So, I'm going to take a second now just to put a couple of things away. Just throw them into my dishwasher, so please bear with me because we are cooking at home. And also, everybody, I do want to mention that this isn't a particularly traditional taco that I'm doing today by any means, right? I'm not using lime, I'm not using cilantro. I'm basically using an Argentinian sauce, the chimichurri. I'm making a salad out of some leftovers. This isn't a traditional taco, but a taco is such a beautiful vessel because it is so generic. Right, a tortilla is so generic, it's just corn and water. So you can basically do a lot of different things with it. So this isn't a very traditional or authentic way to make a taco, to use chimichurri, to use these kinds of flavors, but it's still going to be really delicious at the end of the day. Yeah, Jack, that's the woman who made it, rather. Or it's the woman it's like modeled after or something. I forgot exactly how it works. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw some stuff into my dishwasher while we have a second. Okay, and to clean a chest, you want to use a shopping bag, like a plastic shopping bag. Otherwise, anything else that you mentioned would have been just fine. Maybe not plastic wrap because it's a little too sticky to the tortilla press itself. Okay, everybody, all we've done so far is we have made the masa, we have made the dough for today's tortillas. Today's stream might go by a little bit too quickly. And also, future gay parent, chimichurri is an Argentinian sauce that is made with red wine vinegar. It's made with a bunch of fresh herbs. And I'm going to show you how to get that done now and how to make that now. So, who's excited for a little chimichurri? I think you should be. Okay. First thing I'm going to do, first thing that's really, really important, I'm going to set a kettle of water. Because we need some boiling water, and I'll talk to you about the function of that in just a moment. So, kettle with some water. I'm going to show you exactly why we need it. So a chimichurri is a sauce that is based on a lot of fresh herbs and a lot of dried herbs and spices as well. So, in order to start, I have some really, really beautiful oregano. This is oregano that I got from my local Turkish store. Okay? This isn't like, you know, any like dried mediocre oregano either. It kind of matters where you get it from. It's really, really aromatic. This is the kind that would be used like in a lot of Greek cooking and a lot of Turkish cooking. Yeah, of course, Jack. So this is going to be the first base of the chimichurri. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be soaking it in hot water. We're basically going to make a little tea out of the oregano and out of the red pepper flakes. And the reason that this is important is because this is how you really, really extract the flavor out of the oregano. This step of soaking it isn't important if you're going to cook this in something like a stew. Okay, or if it's just going to be cooked later on. But because this chimichurri is just going to be prepared and then put into the fridge, I think it's really, really important to soak it. Soak it in the hot water, soak it in the boiling water. You make this oregano tea, and it becomes super aromatic. It becomes super flavorful. Does the water temperature matter? I'm just going to use boiling water. I'm just going to use boiling water software. Same exact idea as making tea. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to go ahead and spoon out some oregano. I'm using sort of like the Serious Eats methods and proportions for this, so I'm not going to keep this too exact. It's a chimichurri at the end of the day. This isn't baking that we're doing here. I'm just going to get like 3 tablespoons worth. So 1, 2, and 3. I know this seems like a lot of oregano, but it's going to be the base of the chimichurri today. It's going to give this whole thing a lot of flavor. Maybe even a little bit more. Okay. So quite a bit of that. And then the next step is going to be some red pepper flakes. Some people use fresh chilies. Having the dried peppers is really nice. I also just bought this thing of red peppers. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And again, the amount of red pepper flakes that you use is completely and entirely up to you. It depends on how spicy you want this to be at the end of the day. Okay. So I'm just opening this up. And I'm going to basically use, I don't know, just like 1 of these spoons worth of red pepper flakes. And they're going to get really, really intense. Okay, because we're going to soak it. We're going to soak it all in this hot water. We're going to make a tea. They're going to get really, really intense. They're going to wake up. They're going to get really, really spicy. So I only need 1 of those spoons for today's chimichurri. Okay? Okay, everybody, my water has now boiled in my kettle. And we don't need too much water or anything, right? The water, we don't want it to dilute the chimichurri at the end of the day, but we just want to make this really, really delicious steeped oregano tea. This is how we wake it up. This is how we got a lot more flavor out of it. Also, Ali, it's lovely to have you. And then we also have the red pepper flakes. You can use as much red pepper flakes as you would want. What about chili powder? I think chili powder might add too much smokiness to the whole thing. This is more so for the heat aspect. So this was roughly about 3 tablespoons. Again, I'm using like the Serious Eats proportions for today's chimichurri. And so all I'm going to do is roughly volumetrically half of this. We don't want too much water. We just want to incorporate a little teeny tiny splash, just that much. Okay, just this much. And the smell will immediately hit you. Just mix it through. Ooh. And like the red pepper itself, that's also like coming up and hitting my nose. We just want to make sure that everything is fully submerged in here. Okay? Everything is fully submerged. And then we're going to just go ahead and set this aside. It's going to steep. It's going to get really intense. It's going to get really flavorful. And that smell immediately hits you. It's super strong. Okay. Let's talk about what else is going to be going into the chimichurri today, my friends. This entire idea to do this sauce, today, where did it come from? It came from the fact that I had way too much parsley in my fridge that I wanted to get rid of. So, I have all this beautiful parsley. As always, everybody, the way that I store my fresh herbs that all of you should also be doing at home to keep them fresh, this parsley has been in my fridge for a week, and yet it's still vibrant. It's still really firm, it's still really crunchy. And the reason for this is because we kept it in a paper towel inside of a Tupperware. The paper towel is a very nice natural humidity regulator. It's going to stop it from being too moist, it's going to stop it from being too dry. And that way the parsley, it's not going to turn brown, it's not going to turn yellow. You're going to have nice fresh parsley even a week after. Even a week after buying, it's still fresh and it's still ready to go for us. So is that clear? Do you all understand? So I wanted to use up all of my parsley, and this is a really nice way of doing so. We do have a couple of like these old yellow leaves, so we're just going to go ahead and pick some out, and we're going to get rid of these super big stems as well in the process. Okay, the small stems, they can stay, especially for something like a chimichurri. I just don't want any of the really big stems, like these bad boys. So we're just going to go through these and pick all of these out. Just one by one. Again, you don't have to go too crazy with this process. Just, I want no big stems left. It's a little bit too fibrous in texture for me. Although there's still plenty of good flavor to be had in the stems themselves. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Okay, that's looking pretty good. We're just going through this whole bunch, and that should be okay. That should be all right. Oh, if I were to have a candle based on food, I mean, maybe not based on food, but my ideal candle would be like coconut and cucumber. Those are like some of my favorite smells. Coconut, cucumber, mint, that kind of thing. Okay, so I have a little waste bowl ready to go for whenever we need it for later on. Okay. Let's go ahead and mince this up. Everybody, I want very finely minced parsley for today's chimichurri. I want really finely minced parsley. And the reason for this is because I want this to be a sauce. This is not a relish. This is not a salad. Chimichurri is a sauce. It goes on top of things, it goes into marinades, it gets used in a lot of different ways. So, in order for this to have a texture of a sauce, I mean, look how fine the oregano and the red pepper flakes are, right? And you can see that water is like super green on the inside. We want everything to be fairly equally fine. So I'm going to get my nice big beautiful gyuto knife, and we're going to take all of these herbs, and as always, everybody, we take it and we bunch it up in our hands. We take it and we bunch it up. And the idea is, we don't want to crush these herbs. We don't want to release all of the chlorophyll. We don't want to cleave it like an axe. We're going to be using the full length of our knife. Everybody, let me tell you something right now. Is everybody listening? You've heard me go on this rant a million times before, but I'm going to say it again and again and again. I hate chopping with a passion. I hate it when people vertically chop something. Because when you chop something, you're not using the full length of your knife. Let's say you're to chop something and a piece of food is only this big. You're only using this part of your knife when you have all of the surface area and you're cleaving it like an axe. It crushes more on the way down than if you were to just slice it instead. So we take all of this and we're going to bunch it up and we're going to basically gather up all of these herbs. Okay? We're not crushing it. We're not releasing any of that extra chlorophyll or anything. Okay? And then we're going to set it down on the cutting board. Exactly. We're going to slice this baby bird. We're going to get it done. And we're going to take it and we're going to just use the full length of our knife and we're going to finely slice it. We're not chopping. You can see I'm pulling and pushing. I'm not going down, right? But we're using the full length and we're going as thin as possible and as gentle as possible. You want to use minimal vertical force. You're going horizontally. You're sweeping and you're slicing and you're slicing and you're slicing. And that way your herbs will be beautifully intact and preserved. Okay? This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is serious cooking business, guys. And look at this. You can see how beautifully minced my parsley is already. Guys, if you slice it and you don't chop it, you will never over-mince it. You'll never have it turn brown or oxidized. It'll always have all of its beautiful parsley flavor. Okay? So this is the base of a beautiful chimichurri. A bunch of oregano and a bunch of really nice fresh parsley. Not dried parsley, fresh parsley. One of the only dried herbs that I ever mess around with is dried oregano. Right? Dried oregano is still really aromatic. Other dried herbs are basically inedible. You know, like dried parsley is maybe the worst offender of this. I hate it. Hate it. Yes, dull knives. And how do you know if your knife is sharp enough? All of your kitchen tasks should be easy software. If you ever feel like you're struggling with doing something, then you know your knife is too dull. That's it. That's my only measure for it. So everybody, we minced it once this way. We're going to take the whole thing and we're going to give it a bit of a quarter turn, right? 90 degrees. And we're going to take it all and we're going to bunch it up again. Just make sure that it's all nicely and firmly placed on your cutting board. And again, we're just slicing it. We're slicing it. We're slicing it. We're going through this beautiful bunch of parsley. We're not crushing it. We're not destroying it. But we're going super thin because again, this is going to be used for a sauce. And I don't want massive pieces of parsley in a sauce. I want this all to become one with the sauce. I want this to then become a beautiful sauce for my tacos or whatever else you may want to use it for. This is really nice on grilled meats, on cooked meats. You can use this in salads. Chimichurri is a very versatile sauce. And software, you know if you're crushing? That's a really good question. So you've asked me, how do you know if you're slicing versus crushing? Well, a slice, once again, you're using the full length of your blade. If your herbs look wet on the bottom, if they're sticking to the bottom, you can see, this was a splash of water here. You can see that my herbs are not sticking to the bottom. If they were sticking to the bottom and they started to look brown as you cut them, that's how you know you're crushing the cells of the parsley instead of gently and finely slicing it and keeping that completely mitigated. Okay? So if you feel like it's sticking, then you're crushing it and you don't have a sharp knife. So again, we're going to take this whole thing and we're going to bunch it up yet again, everybody. Again, I'm going super, super fine. And normally if you go this fine on parsley, it does tend to, get all sort of crushed up and brown. But it's not sticking to the bottom at all. Guys, how many of you have sliced herbs at home and you felt like it was sticking to the bottom? That's because you were crushing it and you've released all the water from the parsley. So we take it one more time and we're going to give this one more slice through. Again, it's okay if there's a couple of big leaves left over. You did not miss, we made the masa for today, Duolingo. And now we're just getting ready the chimichurri. Also, Sonic, it's good to see you. Hello, hello. We're making the chimichurri right now. We're making the chimichurri. It's all happening. It's all coming together, baby. Okay? Today's stream might also be a short one, unfortunately. I've realized that everything we're doing today is going to be fairly quick, but that's okay. So, again, I have a few big leaves left over. It's fine. It's okay. I just want the majority of this to be finely minced. And we're going to take this parsley. I'm not really measuring the amount of parsley. And this, guys, remember, we steeped this oregano and we steeped these red peppers. We're just waiting for this to cool down. If you give this a smell, it's super aromatic, it's super flavorful. Steeping this in hot water is how we release all that flavor from the oregano. We want that to cool down a little bit more first, because if it's warm, it's going to end up cooking the parsley, and that's not what we're really looking to achieve here. Okay, so this I'm just going to set aside for just a moment. And now we're going to do something that is not traditional. Everybody, there is no dill in a chimichurri, but guess what? I do not care. I do not care. I'm going to be using some dill today because I have some in my fridge that I wanted to get rid of. Okay? This is not a traditional component in this. but it's still a fresh herb. It's still going to make the whole thing really delicious. It's going to make it really flavorful. We're already breaking traditions. This is not a very authentic dish that we're doing today. So I know this may seem sacrilegious, but again, I promise you it's for the greater good. Same idea with the dill. We're using less of it, and we're going to save some for the salad that we do. We're just going to pick off the fronds. Okay? Get rid of all those fibrous stems. And we're going to do the same thing with the dill that we did the parsley. Guys, this sauce is so easy to do as long as you follow the right steps. The things that I don't want to see you do. Number one, there is no citrus in a chimichurri. I see a lot of people really often, they do lime juice or lemon juice in a chimichurri. It's supposed to be based on red wine vinegar. You can play around with the acid, but at that point, it no longer really has the taste or the vibe of chimichurri. The thing you need is a lot of fresh herbs. Fresh herbs are the heart and soul of it. You're supposed to keep the whole thing really simple. But yes, dill isn't in it, but guess what? It's still within like the heart and the soul of a chimichurri. We're still using fresh herbs. We're localizing this chimichurri based on what we have available. I have really good quality fresh dill. I live in a Russian area. Okay? So, we're going to use it up. Russians love dill. I got a bunch of fresh dill. Same exact idea, guys. Also, hello to SSB. I'm dead. Welcome on in. We're going to take it in our hands, and we're going to bunch it up. Okay? And then we're going to just, once again, finely slice it. We're not chopping. We're not crushing it. Also, Duolingo, you said chimichurri. That's crazy. So we take it and we slice it all up, nice and easy. And we're going to give this a little turn once again. Again, we're looking for a fairly fine mince here. How many portions is this vegetable for? We're going to make a lot of chimichurri out of this software. We're going to make a lot of chimichurri. I don't have an exact measurement for you or anything at the moment. And we're slicing all of it up. I have no idea. It's going to be, listen, this is going to be enough that it can last in the fridge for a few days. And the acid and the oil is going to help like preserve like this, these herbs a little bit more. But guys, the entire point of doing this chimichurri was for a really nice way for me to use up my fresh herbs in the fridge. At home, okay, because, so here's the thing. At home, especially if you live by yourself or with only one other person, it can be really difficult to use up a lot of fresh herbs. How many of you have bought like a bundle of cilantro, a bundle of parsley, and have it gone bad in a few days? How often has that happened to you? When you're cooking at home, you're basically racing against the herbs. You want to have fresh herbs. I don't want to grow them myself. Okay, but oftentimes they would go bad. And so everything that we do in a home setting is trying to figure out how can we make these last as long as possible? How can we use them in so many different things? Everybody messes these things up, and that's okay. I want to show you all the beautiful ways that you can use these. You don't just have to use them for garnish. You can make beautiful salads, beautiful sauces. Okay? Most home cooks don't buy herbs because of how often they go bad. But when you store it the way that I do, in a Tupperware with a paper towel, when you use them in so many different things like I do, you'll be able to have a beautiful fresh supply of them without any of them going bad, without ever needing to throw any of them away. So, this mixture has cooled down now. This was once again my oregano and my red pepper flakes that have steeped. They have beautifully steeped in that hot water. But now, we're going to add in all of these fresh herbs. We're going to take my favorite tool, my handy dandy little bench scraper, and we're adding it into the bowl. Okay, and you don't want to use a blender for something like this. You don't want to make, I've seen often people do like food processors and blenders for the chimichurri. That is wrong. You're going to crush and destroy your herbs in that process. Okay, that is not the way that you want to do this. And don't worry about mixing this in. We're going to do red wine vinegar and a bunch of olive oil in just a moment. Some people use neutral oil. I love the flavor of olive oil, so that's what we'll use. Okay, next component that we need for this chimichurri, my friends, is going to be plenty of fresh cloves of garlic. We're going to need 5 to 6 raw garlic cloves. It's going to get a little bit more mild as it sits in the fridge over time. That's why we do this so early on. We need this sauce to sit. So I have a fresh head of garlic here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up. We're going to get like 5 cloves, and we're going to use a garlic press, as always. But first, I'm just trying to get this head open to begin with. I like doing this over my waste bowl, so none of these skins ever find their way onto the cutting board. So software, yes, you can use avocado oil. That's a neutral oil. There is a slight difference in taste between different neutral oils, and slight difference in smoke points. But yes, generally speaking, avocado oil will be totally fine. So these are pretty big cloves. I'm only going to use 4 of them in that case. They're a little bit bigger than usual. Because I don't need this to become overpoweringly garlicky or anything. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. And so software. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for asking me. Software. I love what you're doing. Everybody, you see what software is doing? Software is asking me questions. You do not need to apologize. I'm here to help you learn how to cook. So neutral, meaning an oil with not a lot of taste or flavor. An example of a non-neutral oil is olive oil. Because it's super aromatic, extra virgin olive oil. It tastes like olive oil. Neutral oils are canola oil, vegetable oil, avocado oil that have been refined that they don't taste like where they came from anymore. Okay? So, as always, guys, I hate chopping garlic on a cutting board because garlic is incredibly sticky. It is incredibly unpleasant to work with sometimes. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our bench scraper, we're going to give it a little smash to separate the skins of all of this, okay? We give this whole thing a little smash. But we're not going to chop it on the cutting board. Okay, we're just smashing it, we're just flattening it at this stage. And Duolingo, that's if you're doing, yes, there would be sometimes you want to slice it up on a cutting board, I think, is if you're doing like fried garlic crisps, or like crispy garlic, okay? And you need sliced garlic and not minced garlic. But the reason why I don't need to do this on my cutting board is because I have a garlic press, okay? So, take it, and we're going to peel it off now. We flattened it so that the peels can come off really nice and easy, okay? And again, if you have some peel left over, the garlic press is going to do a good job of taking care of that for us. Okay, so these were definitely some like nested cloves inside. Yeah, it's a good thing we didn't do like 5. Okay, there we go. In fact, I don't even think I'm gonna mess with this garlic clove. Right, we're just going to do these 5. That's gonna be more than enough for us. And again, it's going to get a little bit more mild as it sits in the fridge, as it sits with the olive oil and the vinegar, so it will be a little bit too intense in the beginning. Okay, the thing we're going to do right now is we're going to go through these and just chop off like the dried off butts of each of the garlic, the good ends of them. We have no use for those. Again, an optional step. Some people don't do this. I like doing it. I don't like getting a piece of it in anything that I do. Okay, so again, guys, 5 garlic cloves, and we're using a garlic press. It's going to make our lives so much easier, so much more simple. We take our garlic press, and we're going to put the garlic through, half a clove, or however much fits at a time. And we're going to just press it in, nice and easy. Take a garlic clove, and we're going to press it in. Again, I love my garlic press. It's one of my favorite tools in the kitchen, guys. I can't get enough of this thing. But the only thing is we just want to make sure we have no chunks in here, okay? This is a sauce. We want all that garlic to get incorporated into a beautiful chimichurri. And again, my inclusion of the dill is not traditional. I'm just adapting this. I'm just localizing this to what I have and what I needed to get rid of. And that is the beauty of home cooking, and that's what all of you should do too. If you don't have good quality parsley, sure, do this with cilantro or something. Is it going to be the most traditional? No. But is it still going to taste delicious? Absolutely. This is a generic sauce. It can be used in salads. It can be used on meats, especially. That's a really good use of it, right? Like on grilled meats. That's what we're going to be doing after we sear the steak. What's my favorite? What, Jack? Oh, you're asking me Duolingo. Never mind. I apologize. Okay. And that should be okay now. That looks good. And we're going to use my little steak knife here. Okay, excellent. And that was 5 cloves of garlic. Again, you see, it might seem like a lot of garlic, but I promise you, as it sits in the fridge, especially for an hour or 2, it's going to get a lot more mild. And that's it. Nice and easy. Okay, next. So everybody, little recap. We have steeped some oregano. We have steeped some red pepper flakes. We added in some garlic. We added in some parsley. Okay. Keeping it really, really simple. And now we're going to do the final components, the actual bases of this that are going to turn this all into a beautiful sauce. So we're going to take approximately in a 2-to-1 ratio of oil to vinegar. You want to use maybe like half a cup of vinegar or so. In fact, in this case, I may just use a measuring cup just to make sure that my ratio is pretty equal. we're using half a cup of red wine vinegar to about 1 cup of oil in total. Okay? You can use any kind of vinegar that you would like. Classically, you have red wine vinegar in a chimichurri. That is the most traditional in something like this. So, we're going to take it, and we're doing about half a cup's worth for this amount of herbs and garlic. I know that might seem like a lot, but it's going to be really nice and fresh and acidic. Okay? So half a cup going in now. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm still going to keep it out just in case I need to adjust it at all. And we're going to use twice as much in terms of oil. This is a big batch of chimichurri, so I'm going to have to find a way to use this up over the next few days. Twice as much olive oil going in now. 1, 2. Okay, so it's not going to be emulsified. It's not going to be combined together or anything, guys. This is just a really, really simple sauce. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Again, I know that looks like a lot of oil, but guess what? It is. This is a chimichurri. It is a sauce that is based on oil and red wine vinegar. I love using olive oil. For some people, that might be a little bit too intense. You can just use a neutral oil if you would like. And the final steps are going to be some freshly ground black pepper going in. A little bit of extra flavor, can't go wrong. Okay, and then we're going to hit it with some salt. We're going to season up our chimichurri. And guys, this sauce has everything. It has so much freshness from the oregano, from the parsley, or in my case, the dill. It has some spiciness, it has some heat from the chilies. It has a saltiness, it has a bunch of fattiness, and it has the freshness of those herbs. This is a sauce with a lot to say. And all we're going to do, guys, is just mix it up. We're just going to take the whole thing, and we're going to mix it on up. And this is my chimichurri. Again, I'm basing this off the Serious Eats chimichurri. I just made my own addition using the dill. Just mix it all up. Make sure it's all nicely incorporated. Look at this chimichurri, guys. Look at this thing. Just get it all incorporated. Break up the clumps of like the dried oregano and stuff. And the red pepper. Look at this. Serena, it doesn't really matter. Salt doesn't matter at what point you salted it. I just was doing it as I went. The order of operations does not matter besides cooling off things. Okay? Look at that. And again, it is supposed to be oily. It is supposed to be greasy. But we're not going to be using that much of it. It's just going to go into each taco, and it's going to be really delicious. So this, guys, is a chimichurri. You can do this on top of steaks. You can use this in the salad. In fact, I might even do like my avocado radish salad with this today. I think that would be really, really tasty. What do you think? There you go. Beautiful. Has my garlic. It has my fresh herbs. I'm just thoroughly mixing it through. So it tastes like everything, Duolingo. It tastes like the parsley, it tastes like the oregano, it tastes like garlic, it tastes like the chilies, right? Oh, it's going to go on the tacos. Don't you worry about that at all. That is not a concern. It 100% will go on the tacos. But this is my chimichurri. I'm just enjoying mixing this around. That's all. And I'm just gonna taste a little bit of it. That's so good. And it's all basically, as it sits together, it's going to become a lot more, the garlic is going to melt out a little bit. The flavors are just going to meld a little bit. This is not the kind of a sauce that you want to eat immediately. Okay? This is the kind of a thing that you definitely want it to sit in your fridge for at least an hour or so. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer this into a container. And software, it does need a little bit of salt. It depends on how much you want to end up adding to it. It depends. I mean, it doesn't need salt. It's just nice with the salt, right? I'm going to go ahead and transfer this over to a little container because I'm going to be using this throughout the week now, okay? And you just want to make sure that the olive oil is submerging everything. It's going to keep it nice and fresh. I know it's a lot of oil, but again, this has so much use. This can be used in a lot of different things. Yeah, the beef will have some salt, but remember the tortillas are bland, so having the salt in this too is also going to be nice. The beef doesn't have to be the only carrier of the salt for something like this. Okay, everybody, look at that. That is my beautiful chimichurri, ready to go. Does anybody have any questions so far? We're zooming through everything today. We don't have that much to do. We're keeping the stream really nice and easy, really nice and simple. Okay. The tortillas are going to be happening after we do the salad, so yes. And I'm gonna grab a lid for this bad boy. I'm gonna slap it on, and this is just going into my fridge. Again, keeping it in the fridge. You don't want to make the sauce and eat it immediately. This, you want to have at least sit for an hour in your fridge or so, or whenever you're ready to eat it, okay? So this is just going in now. Perfect. Oh, I almost put this in my cupboard for some reason. It's going to be acidic, it's going to be spicy, it's going to have so much flavor. Everybody, we have successfully accomplished 2 things. Let's do a little recap session. We made the masa, aka the dough for the corn tortillas, and it's currently sitting in some plastic wrap and it's hydrating. Okay? And then we also made the chimichurri out of some parsley, out of some dill, some vinegar, some garlic, super delicious, fresh and bright and acidic, and that's going to go on top of the tacos. So we have 2 things left to make. We're going to need to make the tortillas themselves. We also have to cook the steak, but then we also have to make the salad. Has chef done lacto fermentation, Serena? Once when I was like 15 or 16. Past that, I haven't done a lot of lacto fermentation experiments. Okay, so let's talk about my salad really quickly. I have some really, really lovely, beautiful baby radishes here that I wanted to use up. This was the inspiration for today's salad. Okay, and so it depends on like how in season your radishes. Sometimes they can be very sort of sulfuric. Okay, they can taste of sulfur quite a bit. And be like a little bit like too spicy, a little bit too harsh. It just depends on the season. It depends on the size of them. Typically, a good rule of thumb is the smaller the radish, the less pungent they tend to be. Allie, why don't you like radish? Tell me, why don't you like radish? These radishes, when I had them previously, they weren't pungent at all. They were really nice and fresh. They were really nice and delicious and almost sweet. When a radish is in season, when it's good, it's perfect. So all I'm doing is I'm slicing off the tops and the bottoms for the salad, okay? So off they go. But I love the crunch of these things. So, you know, again, if they make you gag, then I'm sorry to hear it. But the goal of this salad, guys, the beauty of the salad is this is a really, really nice way for me to use up some of the leftovers that I have in my fridge, okay? I didn't want these radishes to go bad or anything. And what better way to use them than in a nice little salad? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this and we have some like black spots on them. We're basically just going to go around and gently peel the outside wherever we see like those dark spots on the radish. I wash them, I scrub them, okay, before we're ready to cook with them today. Okay, beautiful. And this little tip we're also going to cut off. But yeah, these radishes are mostly clean. Mostly they're ready to go. Let's go ahead and get a bowl for these though. I've started to run out of bowls. I think I need like another set of them at some point. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to get a glass bowl. I don't love working with glass bowls. I just find my metal ones are really nice and durable. But this is where I'm going to be building the salad. And so now we have to think about the size that we're going to be cutting everything. I don't want like super, super thin scraps of radishes. I want this to match the size of the avocado of the scallions. Guys, I love chopped salads. I hate salads where everything is super chunky, everything is super coarse, and you're really, really struggling to get everything on an equal forkful. I love salads. I love being able to get a little bit of everything in every single bite. And so, in order to do that, we have to make sure that we're cutting things the same and we're cutting them fairly finely. Also, Software, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Really, really appreciate it. So, let's think about how we want to cut up these radishes. Okay, we have avocado going into the salad. We have some scallion. We have some fresh herbs, which are going to be the finest minced out of everything. Okay, so we're going to take these radishes and we're going to start by cutting them in half. So we have a nice stable bottom on which to work. And we're just going to go through each of them, cut them on the bottom. We'll cut them in half. So they're nice and stable. And again, some of these are super, super tiny. Some people, guys, they don't go through the effort of chopping up the vegetables for the salad. I think it is essential. We're not going to have to do any pre-salting or anything. The salad's not going to get soggy by any means. So it's going to be perfect. And also, let's have a taste. That's such a good radish. Guys, I love the sweetness of radishes. They're so special. Okay, and we're going to take this, and we're going to go ahead and cut this in half. And we're going to just do a nice small to medium cube. Chef, do I have any suggestions with knife skills? Just a crazy cookie. I mean, I have a million tips and pieces of advice for knife skills. So let me give you all one right now. Number one rule is never overcrowd your cutting board. We have this tool right here, a bench scraper. Whenever we feel like our space is getting a little bit too busy, we're going to scoop everything up and put them away into a different bowl. My other really important knife skill tip is start by going slowly. Don't rush it. Speed will be built up over time. It's the same idea with playing an instrument. You don't start by going immediately fast. You start at a certain tempo and then you work your way up and you get comfortable at different tempos. Okay? So I don't know if those are the kinds of tips you're looking for, but if you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you. So guys, again, we're looking for a small to medium chop on these. I don't love like thinly sliced radishes. I want to get like little chunks, like these guys right here. Okay? Little chunks like these guys. This one, I'm only going to need to cut in half because of how small it is. How small and petite this radish is. 1 and 2. Just like that. Couple little chops. And take it and just going through this. Again, I love having these finely chopped up radishes. They're so sweet. They have a really good crunch to them. Okay. What's a good brand of knives for the beginning? Victorinox. They use the same grade of metal that like most cheap to like metal grade knives will use. You can mess them up to new grade. Have you ever cut yourself anyway? Software, if you cut yourself, you typically rushed, you had like an awkward motion. I haven't cut myself like in years, like while cooking. What piece of meat would I use besides a flank steak for this dish? Really good question, Jack. Traditionally for tacos, when you're making a carne asada, you would use either flap steak or you would use skirt steak. Flank steak, we'll talk about all the benefits and all the joys and all the beauty of flank steak when we end up getting to it though, and why I'm using this, aside from we had some flank steak in the fridge. In fact, I can actually just keep my flank steak because we're not ready to cook it for like a while. This I can just keep in my fridge until I'm ready to use it up. So guys, we're just taking our time. When starting, did I? Not that much. No, not really. So guys, we're just going through these radishes. Look at these beautiful little radishes. Look at these little cubes. And my cutting board is getting a little bit too crowded. Let's take the whole thing and let's scoop it up. We're making a fresh little salad. I may have done that, Selena. I may have done that. Take it and beautiful, beautiful, okay? And then cube and cube and cube. Excellent. Just enjoy it. Don't rush this process, guys. Just have nice and fun. Nice, good, fun, enjoy it. Chopping things doesn't have to be a chore. So many home cooks, they view prep work on vegetables as a chore. I promise you, if you have nice sharp tools and you go nice and slow, this is an incredibly gratifying and enjoyable process. If you ever feel like you hate prep work, you're either rushing it or your knives are too dull. But if you go nice and slow and you really pay attention to detail, guys, the ritual of this is really, really beautiful. Okay? It's fun to do a good job on things, even if you're cooking for yourself. Even if you're cooking for yourself, it's nice to put a lot of effort and love with the knife skills. Because it's a salad, you'll be able to feel the differences in something like a salad. Okay? The number one person you got to look out for is you. It's nice to improve at things. It feels good to get better at things. It feels good to do a good job on something. Okay? So do it right and be nice and patient. Jack, I'm not sure what you're asking. Let's say cook well for yourselves. I'm not talking about treat yourselves to like expensive things and steaks, but just give everything effort and love and technique. Okay? But that's why, keepers, that's why I always say never cook when you're hungry. If you cook when you're hungry, you're going to be rushing and you're rushing to get things done. Cooking before you're hungry and just having things around is the best way to do it. And that's why I always suggest, when you're cooking at home, you need to make sure that you're making home food. Home food is things that either A, reheat well, or get transformed into something else well. If you make something in advance, and it's something that you've like, okay, it's a soup, it's a stew, it reheats super well, you can make it at any point, you know? But that's why I don't do any like really, really fancy, any elaborate dishes on the stream, guys. We're just doing simple home cooking. Guess what? We've chopped up, in my time ranting, we've chopped up all the radishes. Jack, it is only worth it if you want to do it. It is only worth it if you want to do it. I don't do it because I haven't put in that time and that effort yet, so I'm not actually qualified to say if it's worth it or not. It's very hard. I'm not too knowledgeable about it. So, I have a bunch of radishes. We used up all of them. We threw them into the bowl now. Okay? Those are just ready to go for us. And the next thing we're going to do is get some of the scallions ready. So some of the scallions, I'm going to have them, of course, cooked down. I'm only going to use for the salad, let's say 2 scallions or so. Let's do just 2 scallions because they're going to be raw, right? And the scallions, we want to match the size, but we want them to be a little bit thinner, okay? Slippy, that is me. Hi. That's a very funny way to refer to me. So, I'm a cooking streamer. Welcome in. I do stream. I stream 3 times a week. I'm a cooking streamer. Take a look. Have you seen my stovetop camera? Have you seen how cool this thing is? Pretty sick. So welcome in. Okay. Anyhow. Let's get back to this. So guys, the idea is this. Even though we want to keep everything sort of the same size, we don't want to make sure that everything is the same width. If we kept the scallion the same width, the scallion is going to be too overpowering, because especially the white part of it, it's really allium-y. So if we have a thick piece of scallion and we bite into it, it's just going to overpower everything else in the salad. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and slice off the greens because we're going to treat those slightly differently. For the whites, because they're so much more intense and so much more pungent, okay, we're going to slice these up really thin. We're using a petty knife here, and we're going nice and slow. Okay, nice and slow, going through all of this. But we're keeping my slices nice and thin, because again, I don't want my scallions to overpower anything else in the salad, okay? And also, I do snack quite a bit when I cook sometimes. The different colors matters for flavor. Yes, the white part of the scallion tends to be a little bit more pungent. But otherwise, it doesn't matter too much. The green part just doesn't cook as easily because it also reduces a lot quicker. It like loses its volume a lot quicker than the whites of the scallion. Good question, Software. Again, guys, what Software is doing, I want all of you to be doing. I love the questions that Software is asking me. So, 2 whites of the scallions. We slice those guys up nice and thin. Okay? And now, for the greens, we can slice them thicker, but we can slice them at an even more aggressive bias just to get some really pretty blades. Something like this. What type of movement do I use when I use a knife? What type of movement? I'm slicing. I'm always slicing. We're never chopping. We're slicing and we're using minimal vertical force. I don't know if that answers your question though. So 2 scallions, and this is the kind of salad that I grew up with. This is the kind of salad my Russian grandma makes a lot, like with scallions and radishes especially. Have I made chili on stream? Yes, I have. You can go to my VODs channel. If you haven't already checked that out, type in !mark YouTube, go to my VODs channel, and there you'll be able to see the beautiful chili that we made. I take my chili really seriously, as many of you may know. Okay, so we have my radishes, we have my scallions all chopped up. Now let's go ahead and do my dill. Also, thank you so much, Software, for another gifted sub. Thank you. You're being so sweet today. Let's use up the rest of this dill. Guys, the entire point of my stream, the entire point of this is home cooking. I'm using up what I have in my fridge. And this salad is such a nice way to use up my excess radishes, my excess dill, my excess scallions, everything. All of this stuff is just leftover ingredients. I didn't go out of my way to buy anything for the salad. Also, Adradia, thank you so much for the sub. And as always, we keep it in a container with a paper towel just to keep it nice and fresh the whole time. Okay. We're keeping the salad, we're making it nice and fresh, we're keeping it really nice and delicious. And honestly, I'm thinking I might just use my chimichurri as the dressing for the salad. Because we already have it, let's use it. Let's not make a separate dressing. Chimichurri, again, it makes for an excellent, incredible salad dressing. So we're going to take all the fronds off of the stems because we don't want the texture of the stems in the salad. But yeah, everything I do, absolutely Trash Can Cat Mom. I want to limit food waste. I want to teach people how to cook at home. The way that the modern person cooks at home is so incredibly flawed. Supermarkets are so expensive, so we have to figure out how to make the most of everything that we have. I want to fight against things like meal delivery services. I want to fight against things like Trader Joe's, which sell people inferior products for so much money. Okay? I want to restore an understanding and a sense of what it means to cook at home. So that's why I encourage all of you at any point to just ask me questions. I've been cooking for a very long time. And everything that I do is really just from a problem-solving mentality. The way that I cook, the way that I approach things, the way I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm looking at existing problems and I'm just trying to fix them. Okay? What is my stance on fast food? I mean, Jack, it's fast food. My stance on fast food is especially evil because because for a good chunk of the population, this is the only kind of food that they can actually tangibly, physically afford. Right? Because it is both semi-cheap and also convenient time-wise. For a lot of working class people in the United States, they kind of have no other option, or rather, this is the best option for them to eat. And it's not particularly healthy, and it's not even that cheap either. And so, the thing I want to do is I want to set up services, because not everybody can cook at home. Some people are busy. We live in a capitalist society, and it's a tragedy. Some people are incredibly busy and they have so little time for themselves, and they don't want to spend that kind of time cooking. So I want to set up systems in which people, because everybody deserves to have good quality food. I want to set up systems in which people have better access to delicious, nutritional food that isn't necessarily fast food. Because it is a right, and that should not be gatekept by income. But for me to say that everybody should cook at home, okay, it would be completely tone deaf of me. It would be completely it wouldn't be understanding of the majority of working class individuals in the United States and how much they work, especially with the cost of living. So if you can't cook at home, I'm going to teach you how to do that. But in the future, I want to set up systems where I can give good quality food and make it accessible to all the working class people. That's what I want to do. Okay? But people deserve good quality food whether or not they cook it themselves. And if you're capable of cooking it yourself, well, that's what I'm here to teach you all how to do. Okay? But the reality is, not a lot of people can do that. Or not everybody, rather. And it would be completely tone deaf for me to say everybody should cook at home. It is just not realistic in this society. Okay. So, guys, dill, bunched up once again. We're slicing it. We're keeping it nice and intact. We're not crushing it. We're not chopping it. Exactly. If anything, I just blame fast food. I think fast food is evil. It's not the individual's fault. Everybody's just trying to survive under capitalism. So we're slicing, and we're going through all of this. And that's okay, kaze. We're slicing it up, and we're going to give the whole thing a little rotation. I mean, guys, I've talked to you about my model for like what I want my future restaurants to be, right? I've talked to you about it and why I'm not going to ever open a restaurant in the traditional sense. What I want, essentially, is a sister-restaurant relationship. I want a restaurant that essentially, I want one incredible fine dining restaurant that is so expensive and upcharges rich people so much that all of its excess profits go towards funding a community-based cafeteria/kitchen. Where for the cheapest and lowest possible price, it will go towards funding really, really good quality, accessible meals. The reason why fine dining is expensive is because their ingredient costs and their staff costs are so high. But the only people that can afford those are the highest echelons of society, where they're able to spend $300, $400 on a tasting course. I want to essentially have a fine dining restaurant that is so good that I'm upcharging people so many hundreds of dollars that all of that excess money goes towards funding community restaurants, so that it is essentially a form of forcible wealth distribution. They have too much money. I'm going to give them food that is so good that they'll give me those hundreds of dollars to make it. And all of that excess income will go towards an actual meaningful restaurant. And that's why I don't want to have any other restaurant. I don't want a pop-up restaurant. I don't want my own kitchen. I don't want any of these things because they don't help people. All they do is service me selfishly and service my own selfish creative ambitions. It doesn't actually help people because the point of food is to feed people, and I want to feed people above all else. Right? I want to make food accessible. I want to make good food accessible. I want to restore that ability. What do I need to do that? A lot of money and a lot of training is what I need, and time. So that's my 10-year plan. That's what I want to establish in 10 years or so. Yes, software, exactly. It's a sister-restaurant relationship. It's two restaurants. Okay, so we're going through the deal, guys. Again, thank you for listening to my rant. It's just something that is very, very true to me. How much, though? Roughly several millions of dollars. And the reality is this: I'm going to be so famous and so successful that people will simply just invest into my model. They just will. I'm going to make food that is just that good, that it will make people want to do that I will get investors for it. Okay? So, we all start somewhere. I mean it when I say I want to become a big deal in food entertainment. I want to become a big deal in food media because this is my, secret plan all along. So, dill, nice and finely chopped up. We're going to go ahead and get that into a bowl. Okay? Just scrape everything off the cutting board. Get it all out of here. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's very sweet of you to say. Okay, so guys, we have my radishes. We have 2 scallions. We have a bunch of fresh dill. And now, let's get my avocado in here. I have half a leftover avocado from the last time I was doing something. And so I'm going to show you exactly what we do with this avocado. I don't chop up a cutting board, my avocado on the cutting board because it gets kind of smushed and all over the place. I take a butter knife, and I'm going to show you why we use a butter knife and not a sharp knife. But yes, keepers. That's what I'm saying. You have the really expensive fine dining restaurant, and most people, they get investors for it. So, guys, I'm going to show you exactly how we do this. Okay, you ready? Here's my avocado. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. I don't use a sharp knife for this. And I also don't like doing this on a cutting board because it gets smushy and it makes a huge mess all over the place. So with a butter knife, I'm going to be cutting towards myself. If you use a sharp pointed knife, it can easily slip through the skin and then you can stab yourself. So we don't use my nice knife for this. I use a dull butter knife, okay? And what I'm doing is, I'm making a bunch of thin cuts, all next to each other, all intact, inside of this avocado. Also, hello, Mortally Challenged, welcome in. Nice parallel cuts, just like so. And we're trying to match the size of my other vegetables. Okay, and then we give this whole thing a rotation, and we cube it up now. And we cube it up. Okay? No other ingredients software besides the chimichurri itself. The dough is resting, we're going to get to making the tortillas in just a moment. Okay, look at that. So we've made this cross-sectioned avocado, we cut it up into cubes, and now we take a nice big spoon and we go over the bowl, and here's what we do. This is how I always cut up my avocados at home, for salads especially, right? We take it, and I'm going to just go in there and take a look. It comes out so satisfying in a bunch of little teeny tiny cubes. And you can see, if we were to use a sharp knife, it could have gone through the skin and stabbed ourselves. That's why we used a butter knife for this. And we didn't do this on a cutting board so it wouldn't make a huge mess because avocados are just that creamy. Okay? There we go. Nice and simple. That's all there is to it. And this, I'm going to go ahead and put in my dishwasher. We no longer need the avocado skin. It's completely cleaned up. All right? And then we're going to take some of the chimichurri out. Okay, because again, this is all still going to go into the fridge, so it's still going to get nice and mild. So don't you worry about that. Okay. Keepers, that's the goal at the end of the day. And now, let's go ahead and mix this up. Some of the chimichurri, let's mix it up because all the oil's on top, all the vinegar is like on the bottom. So we want to mix this up a little bit. And we're going to take a couple of big, generous spoonfuls on in to the salad, nicely dress it up. Okay, it's nice to use this chimichurri. It's one of my favorite ways to like dress a salad as well. Okay, and we're going to taste it all a little bit. The chimichurri has some salt. We're going to need a little bit more salt as well though. We're going to do a pinch of salt in here. It has some salt, but it's not enough to season up all of my vegetables. So, look at the salad, guys. Look at the salad. So nice, so fresh, and we're gently tossing this. We're using 2 spoons because we don't want to mash up the avocados or anything, right? We just want to gently separate all of them. This is my little cute salad, full of herbs, full of radishes. It's got everything that you possibly want. Scallions, it's got the chimichurri, it's got a little bit of heat from that as well. Okay. And we're using all leftover ingredients that I already had. No, Nukopi, I am not using them. Mine did not come with the radish greens. But you can also use them in this way. It's a very nice way to use up radish greens. Okay, so take a look at my beautiful salad, guys. And so the garlic might still be a little bit pungent from the chimichurri. But yeah, avocados don't have to be smashed. It's just nicely cubed up. You know, nice and pretty. Okay, look at that. Let's have a little taste. Let's taste this for seasoning, see if this needs anything. That is good. That is super good. That is nice and acidic. And guess what? That was super easy. That's perfect. It's got a little bit of heat. It's got the freshness. It's got plenty of herbs. Also, welcome on in, Chernobyl. Hello, hello. Let's go ahead and put these away in my dishwasher. That's a really yummy salad. It's good. It does exactly what I need it to. It's fresh. It's, you know, it's got the crunch. So everybody who's ready for a recap session, for anybody that's now joining us, you can type an exclamation mark menu in the chat. We're making a few things today. we're making a beautiful seared flank steak. We're doing homemade corn tortillas for some tacos. We made this gorgeous chimichurri, this Argentinian sauce with fresh parsley, fresh dill is my own addition, some steeped oregano, okay? Guys, you only have to type an exclamation mark menu once, I promise. Some garlic, some chilies, and I showed you exactly how to make it, and a bunch of red wine vinegar and olive oil. And then, using some of that chimichurri, we made this gorgeous salad. Also, thank you for stopping by. It's good to have you. We made this gorgeous salad. This is all using leftover ingredients. So I used up some scallions, I used up some of my avocado, some radishes, some dill, and some of my chimichurri. And so, guys, this is an important step. Your avocados can oxidize. The oil and the vinegar helps it to not oxidize. Also, software. Thank you for all the gifted subs. While the oil and the vinegar and the chimichurri will help stop it from oxidizing, to really make sure it doesn't oxidize, we're going to do some plastic wrap on top. Okay, a little bit of plastic wrap on top, just like so. And just make sure it's tightly covered, right? That way the avocados, they won't go brown or anything. But yeah, take a look. The avocados are intact. They're not smushed. They're not creamed into anything. It's this really, really beautiful, really simple salad. And now we're going to go ahead and put the chimichurri back, and we're going to put the salad back. And that's it. That's all that we needed for that. Nice and easy. Okay, everybody. Who is ready to make some tortillas? Who's ready to make some beautiful corn tortillas? Is everybody ready? Let's get my station prepped for it. So I'm going to just take my cutting board, I'm going to move it away. Yes, Nukopi, it does. But at the same time, plastic wrap, oil, and vinegar, all of those things do the same thing. But yeah, just as long as it's on top, right? Because you want that acidity on top. It'll stop it from browning, or oxidizing rather. Okay, everybody. So, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again as many times as it takes. Everybody, I don't care who you are, you should be making your own corn tortillas at home. They're really, really easy. They're really simple. Also, software, again, thank you for all of these gifted subs. My goodness. Everybody should be making their own homemade corn tortillas. They're super easy to do, okay? They're so much more delicious than store-bought ones. Store-bought corn tortillas are basically inedible. To me, they're essentially inedible. They are so rubbery. They're so dry. They don't have the moisture. They don't have anything that you could be possibly looking for, okay? Also, what is going on? Chill out. So, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Sorry, my thing glitched out for a second. I apologize about that. So, everybody, really quickly, let's talk about what we have set up over here. This is a carbon steel pan. I have a carbon steel pan here on the stove, ready to go. I'm back. You can use basically any assortment of different things for this. You can use a cast iron. You want a carbon steel pan, okay? Traditionally, you would do this on a command, right? But this is just a carbon steel pan. It's going to get the whole thing nice and hot. We're going to heat this up slowly on a medium heat. The camera might die when I turn this on. Let's see if it happens. It did not this time. Perfect. And we do not need any oil. The beauty of corn tortillas, my friends, the beauty of corn tortillas is you only need two things. You need water for the tortillas, and you need the maseca. So we're heating this up on a medium heat, and we're heating it up over time. The reason for this is because if you blast this with high heat, you're going to get cold zones and you're going to get hot zones. You're going to get cool zones and you're going to get hot zones, and it's not going to heat up consistently and evenly. So heat it up slowly over time, and the whole surface will be nice and even. Okay. So, in the meantime, let's talk about what we need to do these tortillas. Flank and skirt steak, they come from different muscles. I don't know where the flank steak comes from, but the skirt steak comes from the diaphragm muscle. It's what pushes the lungs. So here's the first thing that you're going to need. You're going to need your tortilla steaming station. Now you might be asking me, oh, Daramgar, what is the function of a tortilla steaming station? What are we doing here? What are we setting up? What we need is a kitchen towel, nice and simple. So a nice clean kitchen towel, and you need a nice big bowl. We don't cook it in water. I was just talking about the ingredients, Ali. Because a tortilla, it's a two-step cooking process. The first thing that we do is we actually cook it on the pan, and then it steams in a bowl. and the towel helps to keep the moisture in. So after the tortilla comes out, it's going to go in this bowl with a towel over it. And it's going to steam it through and fully cook it through. It's a two-step cooking process. Don't forget it. Is that clear? Do you understand me, chat? So, this is essential. Do not forget about it. Do not neglect it at all. Next, remember my masa. Remember how easy it was to do. Also, once again, for everybody, if you haven't already checked out my Patreon, please type an exclamation mark Patreon in chat. Please support the streams if you can. This was my beautiful masa. Just some corn flour, or the maseka rather, not just any corn flour, and water. And we have let it nicely soak and hydrate the whole time. And we're keeping it wrapped in plastic to make sure it never dries out. Okay? You have to make sure that it's sat for at least 30 minutes. Okay? Set that aside really quickly. We don't need that right now. And now, let's get my, if I was French, I would say something like my piece de résistance, or something. This is a big old tortilla press. Everybody, you need a nice tortilla press. Alternatively, you can use 2 cast iron pans, you can use a sheet tray, but the goal is you need something big and you need something heavy. Don't buy a cheap, shitty aluminum tortilla press. Excuse me for my French there, okay? A nice, big, heavy one is going to give you evenly pressed tortillas every single time. I made the mistake of doing this in a small one. My tortillas have improved significantly ever since. So, it's going to be really easy. We take a tortilla, we flatten it, okay? I'm going to show you exactly how to do that now. And then in here, we have basically the equivalent of plastic shopping bags, okay? This is how you're going to make sure that it doesn't stick to your tortilla press. So traditionally, people just use like a cut-up shopping bag or something for this process, okay? And before, I used to also do this with a scale. I've gotten good enough at this that I don't need a scale anymore. But I figured out my ideal weight was like 28 grams per tortilla for tacos. But again, it depends on the size that you actually want. So let's get our station ready. Let's make some space for this. So here's the idea. When do we cut out new circles? I mean, as long as you dust these off, it'll be clean. It's just masa and water. We're going to balsam up in our hands. And again, the bigger you make these, the bigger your tortillas are going to be at the end of the day. You don't really have to clean these off. I can just get new ones at some point. Okay, this is going to make an awfully big one. So I'm going to get rid of a little bit. And again, I've built this up over time. You can play around, buy like a gram scale. Okay, and I found that over time, 28 grams was a really good amount. In fact, guys, do you want to see how much this one weighs? Do you want to see? I bet that's around 28 grams. I bet that it was exactly 28 grams. I want to see how much it weighs. I want to see how much it weighs. I'm going to give it a little weigh. I'm curious to see how right on the money I am. Chat, you ready for this? I either embarrass myself. This is where men get made. You ready for this? That was 36 grams. That was not close at all. It's fine. We're going to do a big tortilla. It'll be fine. I want to see how I feel about it being 36 grams. We're going to start with that. Again, I have a bigger tortilla press, so I can get away with bigger tortillas now. But we'll see if that's worthwhile. Before I couldn't because mine was so thin. Mine was so small, right, that I wasn't able to. Okay, so ball it up. And yes, Jack, I have my haircut appointment this Thursday. So you're not going to see it on the Wednesday stream, but I'm going to have a new haircut on Friday. Are you guys excited? So you want to take this bad boy and you're going to want to center it exactly in the middle so that it presses out nice and evenly. We're getting a wolf cut. And we're going to take this and we're going to just slightly flatten this so it doesn't immediately spread out. Okay? And then we're going to take this and let's flatten this bad boy. Okay. And let's give this a little 180-degree rotation so that we're going to be flattening the other side of it now. Perfect. Now let's take a look how that came out. Look at this tortilla. That is a good-looking tortilla. So on my phone, I'm setting a timer for about 40 seconds. We want to get this to a medium-high heat. If you guys remember when I made the tlacoyos, right? That went a lot slower because we had to get the inside of it fully cooked through. These are going to take about 40 seconds per side. So I'm setting a timer on my phone. Okay, if it was properly hydrated, it's also going to puff. Let's go to the stove. Let's go to the stove, and guys, your first tortilla is always going to be a little bit messed up. It's never going to be exactly the way that you want it. And now, guess what? Contrary to popular belief, I am not a Mexican grandma. I am not capable of making a tortilla using just my hands. And so, I like to use a fish spatula for something like this. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to take it, and we're going to take this whole thing, and we're going to basically peel it off in our hands. This is why having a shopping bag is really nice, because it's really, really nice and flexible. And we're going to take this whole thing, and you want to hear a slight sizzle when you put it down, and we're setting a timer for 40 seconds because I don't trust my internal timer. It's going to take about 30 to 40 seconds per side, and we're going to see exactly how it comes out. You ready for this? Hopefully it comes out good. So you want to stay around, you want to stick around, and then we're going to see. We're going to maybe adjust the temperature. We're going to adjust the timing. And yeah, this is a medium to medium high. It's a high. We just heat it up slowly over time, okay? So that was 40 seconds, and we take it, and then we just flip it over. That looks really, really good. Another 40 seconds on. Okay, and now when we flip it over back to the other side, it should puff a little bit, but right now it is starting to puff very, very slightly in the middle. It does look pretty good at this point. I think my pan might have been a little too cold, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. Be patient. Give it time. Give it love. Duolingo, that's mostly because of hotspots, and then also just building up a feel of like, okay, we have to play with the temperature, we have to play with the timing. Okay, it just takes some adjustment. That's all. Let's take a look. Let's see how it's doing. Okay, and now let's flip it over. So let's see if it ends up puffing or not. It cracked in the middle slightly. Ooh, I don't know why that happened. Why did it crack like that in the middle? I think, is my dough too dry? It's not puffing correctly either. It's not like having a big puff. So I got to figure out why that's going on at the moment. I don't really have an answer yet. I think I might have cooked it too long on the first side, and my heat was a little bit too low. Okay, so it's not really puffing or anything. And guys, that's okay. It's fine. It's going to get there. It's a little too dry. It's totally okay. We're going to just move on to the next one, and we're going to make some adjustments. So I think I could have cooked it less on that first side, and we can do a slightly higher heat. We can do 30 seconds. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in my basket. Again, guys, the first one, it never comes out perfectly, and that's okay. That's totally fine. My dough could have been a little bit too dry, but that's okay. I think I dried it out too much in the cooking process. I'm taking my timer. I'm making a new one for 30 seconds. So we're going to try doing it 30 seconds per side. Okay? And we're going to turn it up, and we're going to get a little bit hotter. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of adjustment. It takes a little bit of practice. It's going to get there, I promise, okay? So we'll figure out exactly what's going on here. So let's try my method now. Let's see if that'll work out. I do have a feeling that my dough was just too dry. It got too dry because we cooked it for that long. Okay, take that little golf ball, and we're going to take it and we're going to flatten it down. Okay. Give this a little rotation. This one is going to be a little bit smaller. I think my dough might have been too dry, which is okay. It happens. Let's take this bad boy, and let's put this whole thing. You can see I'm just doing it like this. Excellent. And we're going to put this onto my pan here. Hotter pan, but we're doing it for 30 seconds and not 40 now. So we'll see how that goes. And guys, if it doesn't puff, it doesn't puff. That's okay too. It's not completely important, but it does tell you that your inner moisture was like correct and it was able to build up the right amount of steam and get fully cooked through on the inside. So again, you just gotta play with it. You just gotta adjust it as you go. We have about 3 seconds left, so we don't wanna overcook it. Okay, take the whole thing. and flip it over. And let's see how that goes for another 30 seconds. Or a little bit less. Just gotta be patient, my friends. Gotta be nice and patient. Okay. This next one, we're just going to get it flattened. Or at least balled up. And waiting for us for the next one. Okay, let's go to the stove. Let's see how this goes. Okay, a few more seconds. It'll be okay. It'll work out. I think my temperature was better off. I just overcooked the first one. Okay. Let's give that a flip. Let's see if it puffs. I want to see you puff, my friend. Are you going to puff for us today? The answer is slightly, but it's not holding nearly as well as I would like it to be. It is puffing a little bit at the center, but it's not going like, right? If you did it correctly, it's going to trap steam in the middle, and it will puff up properly. The middle of it is slightly puffing up, but not as much as I would have liked it to. Much to consider, much to think about. Does look pretty good. We'll see. I think 30 seconds was the right amount of time. Okay. This one, it's going to come off. It did puff up a little tiny bit this time. Not perfect, though. Again, guys, we're just going to get there. It's going to take some trial. It's going to take some error. It's going to take a little bit of love. It's going to take a little bit of patience. Okay? I still think I'm slightly overcooking it. I think now my heat may just be too high. My heat may be too high because there was too much color on that side. So let's take it and let's flatten the next one. Oh, Jack, that's a complicated question. These are not my best tortillas yet. I actually just think my masa was a little too dry. I could have added in more water into it. That may be why this is happening, but that's okay. I'm just piling them up in the bowl with the towel. That's all we're doing here afterwards. Again, that steaming step is super, super important to getting the inside of it completely cooked through. And we're going to just plop this in. And we're setting a timer for 30 seconds. And we'll see how it goes. Can we make multiple rounds before cooking them? What do you mean, Serena? I'm not totally sure what you're asking me right now. Yeah, it'll still come out better than store-bought, right? It's just not exactly what I'm going for, so I'm a little bit annoyed. But we're gonna make some adjustments. I think my heat was too high that time, and I'm still drying it out. If it's not puffing, it's typically because it's too dried out. So we'll be nice and gentle, okay? And let's give this bad boy a flip now. That's a little bit better. Let's see how this goes. 30 seconds on. It's going. Hopefully it puffs up this time properly. Make like 5 uncooked rounds and then cook 5 in a row. So Tarina, the issue with that is that the last one may end up drying out because you're flattening it. It has a lot of surface area that way. And it may dry out by the time you're ready. So you have to like really, really cover it up with something. Ideally, Tarina, you would just have like a really, really big flat top that you would be able to make most of them on all at once. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a flip now. I have some confidence in this one. Hopefully this one's going to puff up a little bit. Okay, that is the closest we've gotten to a puff so far. I want you to take a look. You can see, yeah, there you go. Okay, I was actually just overcooking it. That's all that happened. You can see this one is puffing up right there in the middle, and we're going to flip it over one more time just to cook it through. That is exactly what I'm going for. I was just overcooking it. We cooked too much of the moisture out of it, and it wasn't able to puff up properly. That's all that happened. Okay, great, sweet. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to avoid for next time. That's a really good looking tortilla now. Let's go to the next one. And again, it's in a basket with a towel just to steam it all the way through. Because it's not done cooking yet. Okay, it has to steam. The steaming is essential to the final texture. Let's flatten it. Okay. Ooh, that one got a little bit too spread out in a bit of a funny way. That's okay though. Okay, perfect. This one's a little bit lopsided, but I think it's just gonna come out fine anyways. I think I might be pressing these a little too thin now. Oh, let's find out. Let's put this down. 30 seconds. Not the most even place that I did in my life, but that's okay. Let's get the next ball of dough ready to go. How many more seconds I got? I got about 12 seconds, 10 seconds. Let's stop and let's give this thing a flip now. Let's see how that goes. 30 more seconds. And let's give this thing a nice little flatten. And guys, we're going to get through it. We're going to make some really beautiful tortillas this way. I really love this tortilla press. I'm able to actually just get bigger ones. And I have watched a little bit. I've watched a little bit. Never really stuck with it though. Okay. Let's flatten this slightly though, so that this whole thing can come back down. Perfect. This has about 5 more seconds. Okay guys, what do you think? Is this one gonna puff? Let's find out. Let's take it and let's flip it over. Now it's kind of difficult, I've noticed, to get some color. Ooh, yeah, look at that puff. Did you guys just see that movement? Did you guys just see that puff? You saw that puff? That's some real business. That was great. All right, that was great. And now let's do back on this side really quickly, just to get the other side cooked through a little bit more. That's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Okay. All right, so I've just confirmed exactly what I thought was going on, which is I was just overcooking them. I was overcooking them, and I think my dough could have been more moist, but that is a good looking tortilla now. And into my basket it goes. Okay, let's get the next one. Let's take it and let's flatten it. Okay, now let's go over here and let's flatten this again. And down it all goes. Perfect. Nice big tortilla. Pick it up just like so, nice and gentle. Again, guys, we're taking our time with this process. We're taking our time. We're giving this thing a lot of love. 30 seconds on that first side. I have no idea, Mercury. I have no idea. Okay, I'm going to take my steak out of the fridge so it does come up to temperature a little bit. And we'll talk about that later. Once that's ready to go for us, of course. We have about 7 more seconds left on it. Again, I just have a timer on my phone, ready to go for such a purpose. There you go. Excellent. 30 seconds on, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Okay? And we're going to get a beautiful stack of tortillas. Guys, let me show you my tortillas that we have so far. Let me show you these things. Okay, if we go into a bowl, into a basket, look at this. And you can see by the process of steaming, they're getting nice and flexible. Look at these tortillas. That is a proper, delicious homemade tortilla. Okay, cover that back up. Make sure it's steaming nice and gently. We're cooking up that other side. And we're going to take it and we're going to flip it over. And we're going to see how this does. Okay, these are now starting to puff up a little bit, which is good. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Nice. Again, not a very dramatic puff. I think that just mostly comes down to my dough at the end of the day. But we do what we got to do. We do what we can. Okay, off it comes. And let's go ahead and do the other tortilla now. We have about a few more that we can make out of this. 2 to 3 more tortillas or so. Guys, you see how easy it is to make at home? But this is what I'm showing you right now is my process of live adjusting, live figuring things out on the fly. Oh, Allie, yeah, we absolutely can. The last step is going to be cooking up the steak. We're just getting done with this, and then we'll do a recap session, and we'll show you how to make the steak. Okay, that might be a little bit too much masa. Wrap that up. I think, again, my pan might be getting a little too hot again. I'm drying out that first side and it's not puffing. Take this and flatten that down slightly. I'm also happy to help Turina Chess. Okay, and take that and flatten it. Down it all goes. Give this whole thing a nice little rotation. Look at that. Look at that tortilla. Oop, sticking ever so slightly, but that's okay. And now On it goes. Nice even contact all the way. 30 seconds on. No Duolingo. Duolingo. We'll go into the steak in just a bit. We'll go into the steak in just a little bit. It will not crack your seasoning, I promise. We're not destroying this thing with heat. Your seasoning will be more than okay on your carbon steel. So you know. You can do this on a stainless steel, but I find that the stainless steel doesn't do it nearly as evenly. It cools down too quickly. Okay. How many seconds? Okay. Give this whole thing a nice little flip now. Off it goes. 30 more seconds. And guys, again, homemade tortillas, the taste of them, it's just completely different. It's not comparable at all. Okay? They're just not the same product. Okay, give this whole thing a rotation. Okay, that one's just gonna be ready to go and hanging out until we're ready to use it. Let's go back here. This is now cooked. Let's give this a flip. Hopefully it does okay. Hopefully it puffs. Let's see, are you going to puff at all? Okay, yeah, that's puffing in the middle nicely. That's a little bit more of a dramatic puff. That's what I'm looking for. Look at that puff. Right, it's really, really inflating this one. All of it, I guess, just comes back to you don't want to overcook it. You don't want to overcook it. You don't want to dry it out too much. That's all it is at the end of the day. Okay. And do the other side, just to make sure the other side cooks through. Okay. Take that off into my basket. Next one, we have about 2 more tortillas to make, my friends. Guys, you see how simple this process is? You can do this a day and ahead. You can keep this in your fridge. Reheating them is a little complicated, but I should get smacked for using a spatula. I know. I'm aware. I'm aware of this fact. But hey, you know what? My grandma's not Mexican, I'm Russian. So I don't have a Mexican grandma to come hit me with a spatula for, you know, not doing this right. But it's fine. Okay, another 30 seconds on. And we got about enough masa to make 2 more. In the meantime. Eczema exception clause, that's right. Okay, yeah, I have about 2 more tortillas that I can make. And then we'll be done with it. Thank you for stopping by, Jack. It was lovely having you. Feel better soon, please. Oh, gosh. I forgot all about this guy. Oh no, I hope it didn't overcook. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. 30 seconds on. Okay, and flatten this. Oh, the spatula thing, it's just that, like, traditionally you would just do this with your hands. Right? You would just like pick it up off the flat top with your hands. Okay. Ready? Let's see. Is this going to puff today? Let's find out. Is it going to puff? Yeah, it's puffing. That's puffing. That's good. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Nice. Looking good. Now, not too dramatic of a puff, but that's okay. Happens to the best of us. But again, guys, all of that is possible even without leavening, even without like having baking soda or whatever, or baking powder without yeast. It's able to still puff up on its own naturally if you trap the moisture in correctly. You see, I'm using my hands. I'm using my hands sometimes. Okay, I'm getting it done. I'm making it happen. All right, let's get the next one on. Just 2 ingredients, guys, and that's all you need to make perfect, simple, delicious homemade tortillas every single time. $30 seconds on, starting now. Excellent, guys. One last tortilla to make. Wasn't that easy? Wasn't that quick? Wasn't that simple? It just takes a little bit of adjustment, takes a little bit of love, it takes a little bit of time, and you get homemade, beautiful tortillas every single time. And I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. Okay? Here we go. That sheet is going on. Let's give this a flip in about 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay. 30 seconds on, starting now. Smash this down. Rotate this bad boy. Smash it down. Okay. Well, I'm glad I could help out Slippy in that case. Everybody should. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more seconds or so. Just get under it. I don't want to like chip those corners or anything. I just want to get in there. Are you going to puff for us today? He's going to puff a little tiny bit. Not that much though. Yeah, a little bit on the sides. It's okay. My dough could have just been watered. All of this could have been fixed by having a watered dough. I know exactly why this happened, and I deserve the outcome anyways. Okay. That should now be fully cooked through. Perfect. All right, guys, one last tortilla to go. You ready? This is going to be the good one. And I'm using a carbon steel pan, Allie. This is all done with my lovely carbon steel pan. Oh, no. Ah, I accidentally flattened this thing. Okay. $30 on. And that's it. This is a Dubai. I don't know if that's the actual correct pronunciation what I just did there, but that's my pronunciation anyways. They are just as hard Slippy. In fact, maybe a little bit easier just because they are sleek and they're not like pitted. I find that commercial cast iron pans can be a little bit difficult to clean because they have like a bunch of little weird grooves and pits that Lodge likes to put in. So just by virtue of being smooth, it isn't like that. Okay, flip that bad boy over. Get a nice little cook on it. $30 more seconds. Flip, flip, flip. And then I'm going to show you my sack of tortillas. Guys, are you ready to see these tortillas? Are you ready to see these things? I don't know if you're ready. Are you ready for them? You better be, because I'm excited to show you. Okay, that's enough time on that side. Flip this over. Are you going to puff for us today? Is he going to puff? I don't think so. He's not puffing. Is he just overcooked again? Oh, it's puffing. It's just puffing on some parts. Totally okay. Happens to the best of us. He's a little bit shy. He's a little bit nervous. That's all. Okay. So that's done. We no longer need my carbon steel for the tortillas. We're going to be using the same one for the steaks. So guys, you ready for this? You ready to see this thing? Look at my basket of tortillas. I want you all to take a look. Homemade, so simple to do. A beautiful stack. Let's flip this over. So let's get the ones that need to steam on the bottom. Flip it over. Take a look at my tortillas. Pliable. Above all else, these things are pliable. Look how pliable these are. How many store-bought corn tortillas are this pliable that you can take it in your hands, smush it up, and it doesn't crack? You just open it back up, and you have a perfect tortilla. Let's try one. You ready to try one? You ready to see how it came out? Look at these tortillas. Homemade tortillas every single time. You should get into the habit of doing these. Let's take a little bit of salt. And yes, you need a towel, especially this kind of towel. Let's take a little bit of salt. All right, let's just roll it up slightly. Let's have a nice bite. Yeah, it's good. Beautiful. Let it steam. You need to let this whole thing steam. That's a really good fresh homemade corn tortilla, guys. It's just that easy. So simple. Okay. Everybody, we're in the final stage. We've done everything besides the steak itself. So let's talk about the steak and let's talk about the pan. Currently, on my stove, I have my cast iron, my carbon steel going. I'm going to continue to heat this up on a medium heat. I want to get this thing super, super hot, and then we'll add some oil to it. We're heating this up slowly on a medium heat so we don't get hot spots and cool spots. If you were to heat this up on a high heat for only just 2 minutes. You're going to have zones where are really hot and you're going to have zones that are really cold. Heating up a cast iron or a carbon steel pan slowly is the key. Do you understand? Does everybody understand me? You cannot do that without doing it like really nice and slow. Okay, next, let's talk about my steak. This is a beautiful flank steak. Flank steak is really, really nice when you cut it against the grain and you do it medium rare. That way you get perfectly tender bits of flank steak. Flank steak can be really tough. You can see I have a bunch of muscle fibers going this way. I have a bunch of muscle fibers going this way. This has been dry brining in my fridge with salt. There is this massive culinary misinformation that goes around. You know what people say? They say that if you salt a steak in advance, it's going to get dry. You're going to dry it out. That is nonsense. I season this 4 to 5 hours in advance. The salt increases the moisture retention. This is a process called dry brining. It makes the meat hold on to more liquid and it fully seasons it through. So this has already been thoroughly seasoned with a bunch of salt on it. Okay, the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just measure this. Let's compare the meat to the pan. Okay, let's see. Is this thing going to fit? Is it going to fit? I think it's going to fit just fine. We can cut it into 2 smaller pieces. I think I'm going to cut into 2 smaller pieces just in case. Because there is a slightly thinner end. Let's cut into 2 smaller pieces just to make sure that it can easily maneuver around the pan. Ideally, I'd have a slightly larger carbon steel pan. Okay? Guys, I want to make sure everybody's listening to me. Can I please get a yes, chef? Here's another mistake that people make when they cook steaks. There is this idea, if you take a piece of meat and you flip it only once, you can't flip it more than once. Absolute nonsense. You do that, you're going to get an uneven cooked piece of meat. The inside raw, the outside overcooked. We're going to be flipping this every 20 seconds or so once we put it on. When we do that, we're going to get an even crust built up, and we're going to make sure that it is edge to edge medium rare. We don't do this nonsense of, oh, we're only going to flip it once and only once because somebody once said so. It is nonsense. Do not listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. So all I'm going to do though, and again, this has been air drying in my fridge, so it's not a sopping wet piece of meat or anything. Okay? Right? Like you can see how firm it is. Right? All I'm going to do, guys, for my sake, again, is I'm just going to slice this in half. I'm not doing this on a cutting board, forgive me. I'm just doing this so that we can easily maneuver around the meat when we're actually cooking it. And this has been dry brined thoroughly with the salt, so it's already fully seasoned. We're not doing other seasonings because we don't want to burn them at this stage. Okay? And so the only other thing that I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to pat this dry with a paper towel, just to make sure it's not wet at all. Okay? It does give it a real professional feel, doesn't it? Okay, next, we're going to do a little bit of neutral oil. We're going to do some peanut oil, that is. And the reason we're using peanut oil is because it's a high smoke point oil. It's not going to burn, but it's still going to create a lot of smoke. Guys, the biggest issue with creating steaks at home is how much smoke it ends up making. You have to do a high temperature for something like a flank steak. The thicker your steak is, the lower you want your temperature to be, so the outside of it doesn't overcook. A flank steak is really, really thin. So in order to make sure that we develop a crust, we need a high temperature. If it's a 2-inch thick piece of ribeye, you don't want to heat that pan up more than 400 degrees. This is a thin flank steak. It has to be super hot. Not every steak is meant for high temperature cooking. Can you do a vegetarian version of this? Yeah, with mushrooms, sure. So, peanut oil. We're going to grab some beautiful peanut oil. You can use avocado oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, whatever you have. And we're going to pour some in now. It's been preheating and it's smoking. It's smoking hot. Okay? We're going to glide this oil around, and the oil is going to help make sure that the meat doesn't stick and that it is evenly cooking. Okay. This is a smoking pan. It's going to create smoke in your kitchen. There's no way around it, guys. And in goes the steak. 1 and 2. And we're setting a timer for 20 seconds, and we're flipping this every 20 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds. Okay? 20-second timer. And we're going to be flipping this over and over. And we're going to be counting. And we want the oil to smoke because it's a good indication of the temperature. That's why. Again, doing steaks in a home setting isn't the best, and it does barely fit in the pan, but that's okay. It's okay. The smoke alarm is already long dead. It's already long dead, guys. 20 seconds, and we give it a flip. And you can already see the color that we've developed in only 20 seconds of cooking. But we need to flip this often, because otherwise we're going to get blind spots. We're going to get blind spots where the crust didn't develop. In total, this should take about 40 minutes. Also, Lane, thank you for stopping by. Hello, hello. We flip it often. It's going to evenly cook. If you do the nonsense of cook it 2 minutes and flip it only once, it's going to be completely overcooked on the outside. So take it and flip it over. And you're going to keep doing this, and you're going to rotate it to a different side of the pan, because you develop hot spots and cool zones. Your hot spots are where the steak was. The cool zones are on the new parts of the pan. So just make sure you're moving it every 20 seconds as well. We're giving the whole thing a little rotation. Okay? And in total, this is going to take about 4 to 5 minutes to cook. Tops. Okay, timer done. Take it and flip it over. Another 20 seconds. You can see that crust is really, really quickly developing, guys. Also, don't forget about these bad boys, the scallions. They're also going to go onto the pan, and we're going to char it up really nice. It's going to be good. Once the steak is done cooking, that is. Okay, does everybody understand? This is how you make a perfect flank steak. This is how you make sure it's not overcooked. Take it and flip it over again, and we're going to rotate this again. So a different side of the pan. Another 20 seconds. We're flipping. You get an even crust. You'll get a perfectly cooked flank steak every single time, guys. I do not mess around when it comes to steaks. Do not listen to all these people that don't know what they're talking about, that say only flip it once, don't move it at all. Even cooking is all about rotating something like this at a high temperature. Take it and flip it over yet again, and you can see that crust. That crust, look at that crust, guys. Look at this crust. Look at the way it's developing for us. You can see it, right? It's getting more even the more we end up flipping it. You can absolutely rotate it in your mind. Yes, you can. That works too. Okay, give this a flip, and we're going to rotate it this time as well. And rotate it. And it's shrinking up a little bit as it releases water, right? It's getting there. We're building up a beautiful crust. The whole thing is getting nicely and beautifully cooked through. And in total, we're looking for about 5 minutes cook time tops. Thank you, Slippy. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, and let's flip it again. This thin piece we can probably take off in a couple more iterations of the flip. Duolingo, it's completely subjective. The seasoning that you want on a steak is completely up to you, but if I'm doing high temperature cooking like this, you don't really have the privilege of, doing other stuff sometimes. Okay. Because then you can burn your spices really, really easily. Flip it over. Looking good. In fact, this steak we're going to pull off in just a second. That one's a little bit thicker, but this one should probably come off now. It's thinner. It doesn't need as long of a cook time. And again, a flank steak, you do want to keep it nice and medium rare. It can be a really tough piece of meat if you overcook it. Okay? This is not one that you have the pleasure, the privilege of going to like a medium doneness with. You have to do medium rare to medium. Okay. One more flip on that one, and that one we're going to cook a touch longer. Let's take this off. We're going to let that one rest. Let's do 20 more seconds on this side. And we're going to keep this now rotating every few seconds as well to make sure it's in different contexts at different parts of the pan. Because we're developing hot zones and cool zones. Where the meat is touching, it's going to cool down, and where the meat is not touching, the pan is heating back up. Okay? So, give this another rotation and move it around. We're developing a really, really beautiful crust in this process, guys. Okay? 10 more seconds on that side, and then we'll do another 10 seconds on the other side, and then I think it'll be done. I'm using my intuition. You can use a meat thermometer. I just find that a meat thermometer gives you inconsistent temperature readings when it's a very thin piece of meat. That's why I don't love it. But look at this crust, guys. Look at the crust that we built up now. Only if there's a fat cap, Slippy. You only want to turn it over to the side if you feel like there's a fat cap that you want to melt out. Okay. Guys, that's it. That's all we do for the steak. Nice and simple. We're keeping it super cold, super pink in the inside. Okay, we're shooting between a medium rare to a rare. We don't want to cook it past that point, otherwise the steak will be too tough and chewy to eat. Yeah, exactly, Turin Chess. I don't like doing a meat thermometer if it cuts this thin. So, goes onto my resting plate now. That's all done. Perfect. And now finally, guys, the final touch is going to be these scallions that I have here. Scallions, I'm just putting them down. I just want to char these up, essentially. They're kind of jumping out of the pan. I know that. They'll shrink up in a second. I just want to char these scallions up for a second. Okay, and I'm going to hit these with some salt. Okay? I'm sort of emulating the, if you ever get like tacos sometimes and you see like there's like these grilled onions that you get with them, I find that those are like super, super nice. And so, that's what I'm really, really going for by doing it this way. Okay, again, it doesn't fit, but it's going to shrink up and it's then going to fit into the pan really easily. We just want to basically get these half cooked. We want to get them a little bit sweet. Just a really, really nice way of cooking up some green onions for us. Okay? So the steak is resting, guys. We've done basically everything. The last step is just, we're working on these scallions really, really quickly, really, really easily. They're getting a little bit floppy. They're getting a little bit soft now. We're getting them a little bit charred. It just takes a few seconds, I promise. Doing these with a little bit more fat would have also been pretty nice, but that's okay. They're coming together, you see? We're just charring them, we're cooking them slightly, it'll be perfect. Okay? Just keep them rotating as well. Ah! Come back here. You come back onto the pan. Thank you very much. And then we'll be able to serve and make these tacos. You guys ready for this? You guys ready for everything? You guys ready to eat together? It's gonna be great. And all the while, by the way, guys, my friends, the meat is resting. It's resting on a pan. It's not to cool it off. It's to stop it from leaking out all of its juices when we were to cut into it. If we cut into it immediately, all of its juices would run out. So we have to rest it for about approximately half the cook time on it. Okay? Okay, the scallions are softening up now. You can see that they're fitting in really, really nicely into the pan now. We're just going to, again, we're cooking the firmness out of them. We're just looking to get them a little bit more tender. And we're going to serve that alongside the tacos. And then we're going to serve and plate. I'm ready for this. Are you ready? Does anybody have any questions, by the way, in the meantime? Also, oh, yeah, Duolingo. We'll get to that in just a moment. Yeah, look at that. That's perfect. Scallions are getting now a little bit cooked. They're getting a little bit nice and tender. Okay? That's exactly what I'm looking for. Just these grilled scallions, these grilled green onions. It's a really, really nice way of quickly doing these guys. Okay? Almost there. Almost done. We're not cooking them until it's just completely cooked through, just to get some sweetness out of it, just to cook the harsh raw pungency out of it all. Almost done. A few more seconds. Slippy, I don't really know if I have an answer to that. I'm gonna have to think about your question a little bit. Okay. Give that another rotation. We're just looking to really, really blacken these. Get some color on it. Okay. And that should be perfect now. Off they go. And onto my plate with the steaks, just for fun. Why not? Okay, perfect. Yes, you can absolutely eat flank steak clearly. In fact, that is my preferred way to do so in a kopi. Guys, take a look. There it is. We've done it. We've cooked up these steaks. Look at these steaks. Beautiful. Look at these things. My steaks, they've been resting really nice and gently. My green onions have also cooked up really nicely. We've done everything that we possibly needed to today. Guys, let's do a recap session and then we'll slice into these and we'll make some beautiful tacos, and I'm going to show you how you need to slice it if you want a tender piece of steak. If you don't slice these correctly, your flank steak will be way too tough and way too chewy. So, we made these beautiful homemade tortillas. Take a look, take a look, take a look. I want you to look at these things. Huh? Perfect. Nice and pliable. Look at the stack of tortillas that we have here that have been steaming. Okay, really, really gently, really nice, looking super good at the moment. Okay, that is a beautiful stack of homemade tortillas. We're keeping it steaming. And then, again, this isn't traditional. These are not traditional accompaniments by any means. But the whole point of this was to use up the leftovers that I had, right? I made this incredible chimichurri. Again, chimichurri does not really go on a taco, right? You do this typically with lime juice, with cilantro, but I'm just using up what I have instead. We'll do a recap in a second, software. So look at this chimichurri that we have. right? This Argentinian sauce with red wine vinegar, with oil, with parsley, with fresh herbs, with garlic, with oregano that we steeped with the red chilies. We made this incredible fresh little salad as well. Okay, let's plate up. Let's plate up a little bit. So here's what we're going to do. Let's take a little bowl. And this is just going to be for the salad. So guys, I want to talk to you about plating for a second. Whenever I cook, whenever I do anything, the way that I always think about things is radical functionalism. I never do things unless it has a specific purpose or a specific reason on the plate. So an example of this is I'm not going to have my salad on the same plate as my tacos. Because if I had my salad on the same plate as the tacos, the salad's going to get a little bit warm and it's going to make the taco soggy. If I'm intending something to be eaten separately, I will put them always on different plates. So I'm not looking to make an aesthetic or beautiful plate, I'm looking to make a functional plate. So in this case, so really small choices. I'm not going to put the salad on the same plate as the tacos. I'm just going to take my salad and I'm going to spoon it out into my little bowl and take a look at the salad, guys. It has the scallions, it has the avocado, it has my chimichurri, it has the parsley, it has the dill. It's a little bit spicy from the chimichurri, it's garlicky, it's got the fresh radishes that we used up as well. Okay, nice and simple. Really, really simple, delicious salad. Okay? I'm going to go keep this in the fridge, keep it nice and cool for later on. And now, my friends, the steak has now rested. The beautiful grilled flank steak that we did, take a look. And look at the crust. We did a really good job with this crust despite us cooking it so little. That's because we kept flipping it. We kept flipping it. We made sure that we covered all of it. And as a result, we got as even of a crust as possible. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to slice it. I'm going to teach you how you need to slice your steaks to make them tender. If you don't do this correctly, a flank steak is going to be too tough. So first thing we're going to do is we're setting up with a wet paper towel. Okay? Because this is going to keep the cutting board nice and intact on my surface. It's okay, software. You can always go back into the VOD, exclamation mark, YouTube. Okay? Flip this over, actually. It was on the wrong side. There we go. Okay, the steak has rested. It was resting for about half its cook time. So let's cut into it and let's see how we did on the inside. Let's see how much we cooked it. You ready? Okay, look at that. Nice and medium rare on the inside. And look how edge to edge it is too. Right? It's super, super juicy. Right? Maybe a little bit more pushing medium, but that's okay. It's edge to edge though. We don't have like a really huge gray band of overcooked meat. It's this even because we flipped it every 20 seconds. Guys, flip your meat. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. You gotta be flipping your meat. Okay? Look at that. It's a beautiful, juicy steak that we have here. That's how you make perfect flank steak. Especially with thin cuts, you have to flip them often. You have to. It is not a question. It is not a choice. Okay? I'm going to glove up for this just because it'll be a little bit easier on my hands to do it that way. Okay? And again, it's super, super simply seasoned. All that we're going to do now is we're going to slice it up. So take a look. Guys, this is how you make sure that it is nice and tender. Look at the grain of the meat. The grain is going this way. The grain is the direction of the muscle fibers. If we cut it like this, aka parallel, and we tried to chew it, we would just get a bunch of long, tough, big fibers. We cut it perpendicular, and we get shorter, more tender fibers. Okay? With a flank steak, it is essential. Otherwise, if I do this, this is going to be too tough to eat. I had to pull, and even then, that's really, oh, that's good. That's still just really good. So, in order to make sure that this meat is really nice and tender, we're just first going to cut it in half to make our lives a little bit easier. Think of the size pieces that you want for the steak. And the thinner you cut it, the more tender it's going to be. Right? So we're shaving these up. Beautiful shavings of this lovely flank steak that we cooked up, my friends. That's right, perpendicular to the grain. Because that way we get a bunch of short muscle fibers. And now if we take a taste of that, really, really tender, really juicy, really simple. And I'm cutting this thin because it's going to go into a taco. So I don't want like big, tough, chewy pieces inside of my taco. Okay? Something like that, shaving it up. But again, the size and the cubes that you want are up to you. I just like doing pieces like this. Okay? And then this edge piece. It's perfectly seasoned. It's really, really juicy, guys. Guys, cook your flank steaks like this. Cook your thin steaks like this. They will be perfect every single time. Okay? I taught you how to do it. I taught you how to get the best possible crust. We don't mess around in this kitchen. Really, really juicy. Okay? And now we have some of these green onions. Remember this? I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to chop this up. And these are also going to go into my taco. My chard, look how tender it is. You can just take a bite. I love green onions cooked that way. It's the best. So simple. It can get a little, green onions always get a little bit tough when you do them like that, but that's fine. So guys, take a look. My green onions chopped up, my steak chopped up. Okay, I'm no longer using my knife. Let's assemble some tacos, everybody. And again, I want to clarify, these are not traditional Mexican tacos. I'm doing, I'm doing this with a chimichurri. I've never claimed that these were authentic, but all of my technique and all the love that I gave it was more than authentic. Okay, I'm just looking for a good place to put this. So here's what we're going to do, my friends. We're going to take a nice big plate, and we're going to set out 3 of my homemade tortillas. Going on now. Okay? Take a look at my homemade tortillas, guys. Look at my homemade tortillas. Look at these things. Right? Perfect. We made that ourselves. I showed you how easy it was to make your own homemade corn tortillas. I showed you, look how flexible, look how pliable, look how fresh it is. Okay? And now, we're going to go ahead and take a generous amount of steak going on each. Because guys, this is a steak taco. It's a flank steak taco. Right? Perfectly seasoned, really nice and tender, just good quality beef. Using flank steak, a fairly cheap cut and everything. And yet, it's still gonna be really, really tasty and delicious. And now let's take some of my my green onions that we chopped up so it's nice and tender for the taco itself. It's just different. It's just different. Flank steak and skirt steak are just different cuts. Okay? And then, my friends, don't forget the final step, the final little kiss on top is going to be this incredible chimichurri that we made. Right? Don't forget about the chimichurri. Right? Red wine vinegar, garlic, chilies, oil, parsley, a little bit of dill as well, because I had some. And this is going to give the fattiness that this needs, because a flank steak is really, really lean. Right? It's going to give it acidity, it's going to give it the spiciness, it's going to give it everything that it could possibly want. Look at that. That chimi keeps for about 5 to 6 days or so. Everybody, guess what? We've done it. We've accomplished everything that we needed to for today. Who's ready to do a recap? I want to hear yes, chef, right now, please and thank you. I want you to take a look. Let's start with the least exciting thing here, which is a salad. I made a really simple salad. I made it with avocados. I made it with some radishes, some scallions, some dill, and some of the chimichurri that we made. The chimichurri was done with red chilies. It was done with oregano that we steeped in hot water. We added olive oil. We added radishes. We added some avocado. Okay? It was really, really delicious, really acidic, a little bit spicy as well. That is a perfect fresh salad, and it uses up the leftovers that I had in my fridge that I want to get rid of. And then we have these incredible tacos, guys. We made everything here ourselves. We made the tortillas ourselves. The flank steak, I showed you how to dry brine it. I showed you how to get a perfect pan sear and how juicy it is. I grilled some scallions as well. And then we made some of the chimichurri. Extra credit? I mean, I think I went above and beyond with the extra credit, Charlie Fox. I mean, I guess growing your own herbs. This is all simple food. I just made everything here. So let's start with the salad. Let's just take a bite of that. Let's take a bite. Let's see how that goes. Okay? Crunchy, fresh, delicious, creamy from the avocados. That's delicious. I think we did all the extra credit. And guys, we did everything here by ourselves. Everything. Now let's take this taco. Beautiful. Hold it up in your hands. Look at that taco. Guys, look at this taco. Hot. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. What more could you want? That is incredible. Is it traditional to do tacos this way? Not at all. But look at that. Ah. Mm. Mm-hmm. 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 Everything is perfectly seasoned. It's so simple. That's it. Guys, final questions. Now's your time to ask me. I'm here to help you learn how to cook. How much do I sell this dinner for free? Because my goal is to feed people, not to make money. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single last one of you. Remember, the next stream is going to be this Wednesday. We have 2 days off. This Wednesday, 5 p.m. EST. Everybody, if you haven't already done so, please check out my Patreon. You can type in !Patreon in chat because I want to keep these streams free. And if you have the money to be able to help and support, it would go a super long way. It'd be really appreciated. It'd be really sweet of you. So type that in, scroll down to the About section. Alternatively, you can also type in !tip or donate. Later in the week, what we did with the dish, that's a good question. The steak, I love slicing it up cold for sandwiches. The tortillas, I love doing huevos rancheros. That's one of my favorite dishes. I love doing huevos rancheros with leftover tortillas. It's one of my favorite breakfast dishes. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Any final questions that you have? Let's go ahead and find somebody who is currently live on Twitch today. Yeah, this Wednesday, 5 p.m. Wednesday is going to be the last time that you see me with this haircut, and then Thursday I have a haircut. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to get a wolf cut. Okay, it's going to be really nice. I'm pretty excited about it. Let's see who's live. Okay, Rose is live. We'll go ahead and raid Rose. That'll be nice. So yeah, it'll be good. Okay, any final questions, guys, before we sign off for today? Again, I appreciate all of you being here. Wednesday, 5 p.m. EST is going to be the next one. And then I may have some schedule changes after, depending on what I have going on, because I have some commentary stuff picking back up, so we'll see what happens. Till then, I just hope all of you have a really, really good night. I hope all of you stay safe. I hope you all have a good Sunday. Rest up before you got to be busy again. Let's go ahead and raid our lovely friend Rose. Ah. Okay, perfect. That's done. Thank you all. See you next time. Appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, Wednesday, 5 p.m. EST. You know where to find me. Bye-bye.